SMTN.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network, link 334. I'm your host, Spencer Presley, joining me from the future and past of podcasting recording, all the way from the mythical land of central Midwestern podcast secret recording booths. We've got the Guitaru Man sequel you didn't know you wanted. Liam Omega, how's it going?
I have never been described that. I love it. Thank you.
If it leads to at least one person typing in their chat, what the hell is Guitaru Man, I've done my job.
Well, hey, I'll be that one guy.
Good. Listen, if you do not know about Guitaru Man, it is an absolute classic. You can play it on PS2 or PSP. It's basically, imagine if someone saw Parappa the Rapper, never had another game, and went, well, hell, I'll just give him a guitar and make him a superhero.
All right, that sounds like my kind of game.
No, it's fan-fucking-tastic. Guitaru Man, really, really good. But, Liam, while you are now metamorphosizing into the next Guitaru Man, who the heck are you?
Oh, boy, that's the question, isn't it? My name is Liam Omega. Obviously, that's not my birth name. Can
you imagine, though?
Oh, if only. I am I guess you could say, a cover artist on Twitter. I make a lot of guitar covers of video game songs, and occasionally, outside, I plan to do a couple anime. I've done a couple anime before. I did one for Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 in honor of Akira Toriyama that passed away. But I have a couple others in mind for the future. But mostly what I do is I cover Atlas, Mega 10, and Persona songs. And that's pretty much my main thing. I also have a lot of terrible opinions.
Now, I'm surprised. If you've done this, please let me know and correct me. Have you yet to do a cover for Scott Hall's opening theme?
Scott Hall, you mean Razor Ramon?
Yes.
You know what? I actually did when he passed away.
Really?
Yes.
How long ago was that now? I'm trying to remember.
Well, I did it was 2022, I believe, because I was in my last apartment. I did the NWO theme.
Oh, okay.
But it was before I did covers the way I do them now with actual good audio. Before
I've got a PlayStation Eye toy mask and a SingStar microphone in the corner picking up the acoustics.
God, if only. Probably would have sounded better. I was just recording off my phone, which wasn't even an iPhone. It was an Android. And I just I actually have a couple of those covers still in my files. I check them out every now and then and think, boy, I've come a long way. And by come a long way, I mean I just started actually doing actual audio things.
Well, it's funny because I definitely think of you when I see you pop up in my feeds the most from your covers. Ironically, I probably, even before I started following you, would just see you pop up on my timeline because we would have so many mutuals who we both follow who would just retweet you going, "Hey yo," every day. And I would just be like, who is this man?
Hey yo. That's another thing I took from Scott Hall. When he passed away, I just started saying "Hey yo" a lot in his honor.
Someone had to say it. Someone has to pick up the torch in his place.
One more for the good guys.
But yeah, man, so how long have you been either playing music in general? Do you do any other guitar? Do you do any other instruments, like outside of obviously like the guitar? Like, what's kind of like your musical history first?
So I started playing guitar back. Let's see, we're in 2024, so about about 8 years now. I started in the summer of 2016, I believe, because a couple of months before that, in I believe May or June of 2016, I actually went to my first concert because the thing is, I wasn't really into music that much. Like when I was like, um, you know, growing up, middle school, all the way up to like my second, no, that would have been my first year of high school. I wasn't that much into music. I was just like listen to, whatever was on the radio and think, oh, I like that song, don't like that song. Oh, California Girls, that's a pop. I like it. Um, or stuff like that. But in let's see, that would have been so in the summer of 2015, I was diagnosed with diabetes, and this was when I was in France. So they actually took care of me. I stayed in the hospital for about 10 days when they just taught me like how to treat it, how to use insulin, how to manage it, do all that. And in that time, I found myself listening to a lot of just music not on Spotify. In France we had a thing called Deezer, not like these, like kind of like these nuts basically, but Deezer. And I just listened to a lot of music from there, like a lot of classic rock, everything from like the 60s all the way to the 90s. And I got really into music then. And a year later, in 2016, I went to my first concert. It was The Who. They were doing their
Damn, for your first concert?
yeah, they were doing it was like their 50th anniversary tour. And so my mom and we took the train into the city in France called Toulouse, and where they were performing. And I was like, I want to play guitar. I told my mom I want to play guitar. It's like, okay. So that summer, I borrowed a guitar from one of my mom's friends who was also a musician, and just started practicing on an acoustic. And then when we got back, because for that summer we came to the States, that's what we would always do. And then when we came back to France, I had my mom still had one of my dad's old acoustic guitars because he played, and so I would play on that for the next few months. And then Christmas, I got my first electric, and then just kept on playing, kept on practicing, playing a lot of songs. Then when I graduated high school and started college in 2018, I went to school for music. I was a composition major, but I also took a lot of guitar lessons because, as I quickly found out, just being able to play songs on guitar is not the same thing as just playing guitar. Like I remember my first guitar class, they asked us to improvise a solo or something, or just noodle, and I was like, I don't know how that works. It was a real shock to the system. Like, oh, I can play these songs, or I can play songs, but I can't play you can't just give me a chord progression. I can just solo over it. So took a lot of took some time, but eventually I got to that point where now I can pretty much improvise over anything, but it doesn't really take that much practice. And then, so that Christmas of 2018, I went back to France, and I asked for a PS4 Slim because Spider-Man had come out, God of War. That was a big year for Sony. And I thought, I just wanted a PlayStation 4 so I can play the exclusives, basically all the exclusives games that Xbox didn't have, which I'm an Xbox player, which might make some people mad because
I feel like we're a very surprisingly pro Xbox household here on the podcast, and I only say that because I have never been a Xbox fanboy, as I would say, but I've always had an interesting respect for the system, and everything for it. And like I remember when Atlas really started supporting the Xbox, it was that big thing of all of us being like joking, but like half joking, half being serious. But like, oh shit, man! Like Soul Hackers 2 is coming to Xbox. You gotta buy the green box version because we haven't had a game since fucking Ultimax. Like we gotta get anything we can get.
I did my part. I bought Soul Hackers 2 on Xbox.
The Green Ringo edition, as God intended.
Absolutely. My favorite Beetle.
That's really interesting though. So like before, were you just mostly playing on like an Xbox One, or like what were you playing on before 2016?
So for a while I had a Wii. That was when I was in elementary school. Then I moved up to Xbox 360, and then Xbox One because that's what my friends in middle school were on. So basically, if your friend, whatever your friends have, that's what you get. That's what you stick with. You know how it is.
No, exactly. I mean, ironically, I remember the only reason I actually didn't even get a 360 was just because I played Cameo at launch.
Oh, that's
and
a great game.
I was like, no. Even as a kid, I was like, yeah, this isn't worth getting a system for. Like, it wasn't bad, but it was like,
Bro.
I knew I needed to like hold off for something better, which like is hilarious because basically what my parents probably did is they saw I wasn't like loving it, and they were like, "Hey, you should wait a year and get like the next system." And in my head, I was like, "Oh damn, bro, I'm gonna get the PS3. We're gonna have HD graphics." Like, no, bro, you're playing Avatar: The Last Airbender on Wii. Like that's what I was playing instead.
Big shout out to Avatar: The Burning Earth on Xbox 360. Easiest game to get all the achievements in.
I mean, they knew what they were doing. They were like, listen, guys, this is a game, quote unquote, around it. But I mean, like, listen, just do the opening fight, get your 1,000 achievement points, and uninstall it from your hard drive. That's what the way God intended.
Yeah, exactly. But still, love the 360. It was probably still my favorite system to this day.
360 is such an interesting one because, like, while I always wished I had one at the time, I've now got to experience so many of those games in the best way possible through like back compat and stuff on my Xbox One and then initially and eventually my Series X. But like I had a lot of friends with 360s at the time. Like I was definitely like a couple of my friends had PS3s growing up, but it was very much 360 oriented like around here. And it was just that thing of like I've even thought about it recently with all the Xbox news that's been happening. It's like, man, that I would love for them to even come close to kind of capturing that magic again, but like when you like compare even the highest of highs from the Series X and the Xbox One days, nothing comes close to like those 360 days. Like it was insane how big that system was. Like insane.
Yeah. Microsoft definitely peaked with the 360. And it's kind of been downhill ever since.
And I mean, and it's tough too because like we've had so much negative Xbox news and everything coming out with it recently.
Yeah.
For like, I would like it. I think no matter what happens with that system, my thing is I hope that those teams that they own keep getting to make the games that they want to make and stuff with it. Because like nothing would make me more sad than in like 2 or 3 years if. Yeah, the next Xbox comes out, but it's just kind of whatever, and we don't really get games on it anymore. Like, I could care less really where I'm playing or where other people are playing. I still kind of want those games to come out no matter where they're at, whether it be, like, exclusive at launch or will eventually come to, like, all other systems later on down the line. So, like, I would legitimately be sad, even though my Xbox is easily the system I play the least, I would be sad if it went away forever.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be one of those things where it's like, you don't know what you got until it's gone. So, because like one day, who knows? Hopefully not. The Xbox just might be gone, and it kind of went sour by the end. But we still have those memories.
We'll never forget everyone's favorite system that was also a fridge and also a toaster for God knows what reason.
Yes, and also a VCR at one point.
Oh God, I forget. Oh, that was as someone who unfortunately bought a launch Xbox One for $500. God, what a hideous system!
Yeah,
what a just disgustingly hideous system. But
worst power button.
Well, that is true. That is true as well. I'm trying to think of this. Like, so where we're at timeline wise. When did you end up leaving France and coming to the States?
Well, I've been coming back and forth pretty much my whole life. I was born in France, but my mom's American, so pretty much every summer and sometimes Christmas we would come to the States. And of course, I would speak English at home with her, and then speak French at school or with my French family. So I moved officially in summer of 2018 when I started college.
Okay. Was there anything that kind of tempted you of like wanting to go to one versus the other, or like what was kind of like? Was there any like comparison, or like was it tough to pick which one you'd want to go to in terms of either for college or where to live?
Not really. I kind of knew like from the get go that I wanted to go to college in the States. I wanted to just have that experience because it's very different in France. It's very cheaper in France, which probably would have been a smarter move in hindsight, but it just wouldn't have been the same. I feel like, and I was just really missing the States because because every time we would come, I would just love it, and I really found myself like missing it when I was back in France, and I would just get excited for summer or Christmas, and sometimes we didn't even come for Christmas, so I'd be disappointed. But I just found myself, wanting to be here like full time. Another decision I partially regret now, but hey, you live and learn, move forward.
I mean, listen, some of us decide to pull a bebe and never come back to their favorite country. Some of us end up deciding to stay, and our uncle hates us forever, and our whole family's poor because of it.
Right.
There's really no better true social link than comparing everyone to bebe.
Well, I mean, I am Bebe, if you want to call me that. I'm the French guy.
Listen, I'm just saying, unless I hear you either say anything in a disgustingly stereotypically French accent, or "I'll be back," I'm not going to believe it.
I'll be back. That's Austrian.
Listen, that's one of those choices that like when I saw them put that on there, I'm like, if you don't pick "I'll be back," like does the game can progress? Like does like someone from Atlas like call you up and be like, hey, you can go back and change that, like you picked the wrong option.
No, actually, the game like uninstalls itself, and if you bought a physical version, it like the disc flies out of back into the box, shrink wraps itself, and then goes back to whatever store or Amazon warehouse you got it from.
Hideo Kojima's dream finally coming true just for the Bebe meme choice.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Which by the way, my headcanon about Bebe is that he's not actually French; he's a spy. Because
that's why he doesn't come back.
But also that's why his French accent is so horrible.
Is there like a French equivalent of MI6? I wonder, or would that still be MI6?
It's not. It's not MI6. I'm sure we have our equivalent, but I honestly couldn't tell you what it is.
France's Secret Service force is just Agent 47. That's actually what it is.
No, excuse me. I think I know. I think it's called OSS. I believe I want to say that's our MI6 equivalent. I might be wrong, but I know we have something called OSS, and I want to say that's it because.
Oh no! Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was the Office of Strategic Services.
All right,
started in France.
Oh, I got something right. Let's go.
That is so funny. Listen, I was gonna say it's either gonna be that, or I assume the Totally Spies are real, and that's the only reason they've been on TV this long.
Yeah. No, actually, our Secret Service is actually the Code Lyoko squad. It's just 5 teams.
Listen, if anyone ever wonders why did the Code Lyoko kids A have a theme song that goes so hard and B have foreheads that big, it's because they needed to learn all the different languages that show was going to get translated in, so they had to fit it in their Jimmy Neutron-sized foreheads.
Shout out to Jimmy Neutron. But also shout out to Code Lyoko, one of the few animes I've actually watched all the way through.
Listen, I love Code Lyoko. I'd put big fat quotation marks behind the words anime and Code Lyoko.
Yeah,
that's like we'd have to start calling like Beast Wars or reboot anime at that point.
Right. That's fair. That's fair, but
I mean, I would say Code Lyoko definitely was probably like it was the first popular Western show that really let people know, hey, Japan has a really big boner for. Sorry, France has a really big boner for
Yeah,
Japan.
we do.
And I don't really know how to explain it, but like, if you ever think to yourself, like, man, I sure love Dragon Ball Z, and then you remember Mexico exists, that's basically France for everything anime.
That is, yeah, pretty much. I don't know I
Like,
don't know much about, like, I haven't seen much anime, but boy do I know that.
I'm trying to remember. I think is the name of the really big show over there every year Japan Expo, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Japan Expo Paris basically is like their TGS where they just fly a bunch of foreigners out to France
Yeah.
to just discuss and announce all the newest things happening in Japan. Which is such a wild like that'd be like having like Beer Fest in America, like in like Ohio is like the next place of Beer
Ohio.
Fest. It's like, bro, you don't understand. The Germans in Ohio, it just hits different. Like it's not like at home.
No, we'll have it. It's actually gonna be in, like, DeKalb, Illinois.
Oh my god. Well, I at least appreciate you answering the next question of like, is Bebe good or is Bebe offensive to all fronts? So I appreciate at least knowing you're not a Bebe hater.
No, it's Baby's fine. I don't have any problems with him. His social link is okay. I like it fine enough. And honestly, just same with him. I like Baby. No problem with him. Except his accent. Except his accent, of course. That's
I had a really interesting like I would say conversation, but I wish it had gone more than it really was. Someone I knew recently had finished Bebe's Social Link, and it was so funny. Like their takeaway from it was like, "Wow, I really connected to like Bebe's Social Link," and I was like, "Oh, like what did you like about it?" Thinking it was going to be about like confronting your family or like trying to find your true home or like finding like friends and things like that for it, and not even saying they're wrong. I just thought this was so funny. They were so sure that Bebe's Social Link was an allegory for being gay, and I was like, I didn't even know. Like, my brain was just like, yeah, like that's why he talks that way, right? Like he's just in love with your character.
yes, all French people are.
I'm just imagining at the end when you get everyone's letters, it's just Bebe confessing his love for you, and he should be like, "I had to stay in France, dog. I was gonna be all up on that glizzy too long. I had to stay away."
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I mean, I just assume all the social links are allegories for being gay.
That would be the more fun way to play it. It'd be like. Just be like, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm thinking about it. Like, I'm sorry, Kenji. I know our teacher couldn't groom you any longer, and she had to go move far away. But if it makes you feel any better, I will enter a deep romantic relationship with you.
Yeah, or with Mamoru. Hey, we're rivals, but we know how this is gonna end.
To be fair, that dude definitely gives big, like at any moment during his social link, if he looked at you and he said, "Hey, I know all I've done is complain about my family being poor and eating together, but like I'm really into you," and just imagining you being like, "I mean, I'm just here to eat, dude, but like that's like you're like my second social link about food, like whatever you want to do, dude."
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of, I finished. So through playing Reload, I did the Gourmet King for the first time. Boy, people weren't kidding when they said it was the worst social link.
It's not the worst. It is like it's the least I think satisfying because it doesn't feel like he actually improves without like getting into any spoilers. Like the Food King, the Food King is like a weird one of like, and like this will only really depend on like if you have something like this in your life. I've had people in my life that I've had as acquaintances and even I would say friends where it's like this is someone I'm friends with, but I know they're a bad person.
Right.
And I know that like they know they're doing the wrong thing or they know they're on the wrong side of it. And, like you can try to steer them in the best direction you can, but like even at the end of it, you're just kind of like, yeah, like that was probably not the best message for you to take away from it.
Right. No, I get that, but I just couldn't see past like how much of a terrible person Gourmet King was.
He's it's probably the worst, I guess, compared to all of them. Like, there are a few weird ones that other people have, like, interesting hate boners for. Like, I've never understood why people really hate the student council member.
Chihiro?
I liked his route.
Oh,
Yeah, I like him.
oh,
Uh,
Hide. Oh, I forget the names.
but like him and also the what was it? His social link and also the monk are
Oh,
usually
the
not very like
Mutatsu,
popular
yeah.
ones. Yeah, but like Mutatsu's thing is like I think if Mutatsu's thing, at the very least, we found out or showed us like, hey, why would anyone take this guy back? It's just be like somebody explained to me like I needed like a quick moment of like his wife is also like a super big loser drunko or something, but like due to like the miracle of childbirth and like coming together as a family, they looked past their differences and like because like I imagine not as a way to make like Mutatsu better, but I feel like if they had written him like an Al Bundy like
You're
character
right.
of like grouchy, hates his wife, hates his job, but at the end of it all they all still enjoy each other's company enough to live together. Like that would be the case, but because his social link literally has to always fucking be at the bar, it's like there's no room for character growth. It just feels like you're babysitting for 9 ranks and then he's like, "Well, I guess I got to go find my kids now."
Yeah, or just like listening to a drunk man's speech.
Yeah, which like there can be interesting levels to it. Like I think if it tried to lean into, because I think there's a night or two where like it gets emotional in parts where like he's feeling bad about his actions, and I think if it had leaned into moments like that more, there'd be places to go with it. But I will say, especially finishing P3R as recently as I have, the social links pound for pound. I think there are way more bangers than misses compared to even something like Persona 5 to me. Like, Persona 5 has so many social links where I'm like, I get it, I get what you're going for, I just don't care about
Right.
any of this.
I honestly, I'd still maintain. I think Persona 4 actually has the best social links. They're not.
Agreed.
I wouldn't say like they're not all like ultimate bangers, but I feel like
No.
there's like in terms of quality, they range for the most part. I'd say they're all like good at the very least. Not counting like the fetch quest ones like the Hermit or you know Margaret. Like in terms of like storylines, I really like
I
all
will
of them.
not be counting. I will not be counting the Fox social link. Unfortunately, sorry.
You were saying?
No, I'm saying it's like ones like if someone says like, "Oh, what's a social link you don't like from Persona 4?" Like if someone says the Fox, I'm not gonna ask why. I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, I get it."
Yeah. No, I mean the fox it's cute. It has a nice payoff, but just the tasks, I didn't care for them that much.
Um, let's see. Besides randomly spoiling old slash new social links for it, I guess we can kind of go into like Atlas history and stuff with it. So you're part French, part American, full time Xbox lover. How the hell do you become an Atlas fan? What are you just playing like Operation Darkness all day? Like what's happening?
So just quick, I wanted to correct. I said when we were talking about like the Emperor social like in Reload, I call him Hidehiko, but that's Persona 1. I meant Hidetoshi. So I just wanted to correct myself there. Because
The comments have forgiven you. They put down the pitchforks.
yes, that's exactly why I wanted to do that. So yeah, so getting back on track. So in Christmas of 2018, I got myself a PlayStation 4 Slim because I wanted to play Spider-Man and God of War and all the cool exclusives that had come out that year. Like Spider-Man and God of War, and also Detroit Become Human, which, boy, that's an experience. And then I also got, some other ones that I missed, like the Shadow Colossus remaster. Gosh, what else? Whatever was out, or Nier Automata, that was another one. And then, of course, Persona 5, because, I heard a lot about this. I did not know what Persona was about. I heard the name, but no clue what it was about. I saw, it's Um, Turn-based RPG mixed with Japanese high school simulator. I was like, all right, sounds good to me. Um, I started playing it and just never put it down. I played that all through winter break. It just sucked me in. It got its hooks into me and really hasn't gotten them out since.
And so, was it one of those things of like, just from hearing positive word of mouth for so long? Like, did anyone like in your life like recommend it to you, or like what was the kind of thing that finally made you, after like a year of it being out, be like, yeah, I should finally check this out?
Well, like I said, I didn't have a PlayStation when it came out. I just like I said, I just when I got my that PlayStation after beating Spider-Man, I just wanted to go through like all these like PlayStation exclusive games that I wasn't able to check out as an Xbox player, and I just bought a bunch of them on a whim, and which included Persona 5. So no one recommended it to me. I just jumped in entirely on my own.
I'm trying to think then for it. So, having P5 be your first experience, was it just one of those things like, I guess, because most people usually have like different things that either like really sink their teeth into them, like the visual design of it, the music, either the characters or the story. Like when looking back on that first playthrough, what do you think was the first big thing that kind of really put its teeth into you?
Uh, at first sight, it was definitely the art style. I just loved the way the game looked. I loved like just the menus, like just the whole user interface. It just looked beautiful. Then the music quickly caught my attention. I was like, wow, this like I never got tired of hearing like Beneath the Mask or stuff like, of course, Last Surprise, because this was before Royal. Um, like even like several hours in, I was still hearing Last Surprise every time I started a battle, and those strings, they just an amazing hook. It's great. It got me hyped every time, and also I would say the story. Well, I say the story, I mean like that first dungeon, the Kamoshida dungeon. I I just loved. It had a great, like I said, like the music had a great hook. And even before that, the idea of Joker being accused of a crime he didn't commit, put on probation, sent to a new city where he's seen as as like a reject of society, banding up with the Phantom Thieves. It had a really nice. I like the feel of the story, and Kamoshida making such a great first villain. It's one of those things, like it's really simple, but they got the basics of the story. Like the good guys were great. Or at least I liked them. The bad guy completely hateable, and it just made me want to see the Phantom Thieves. Put him in his place, and after that, I just wanted to see where their journey would take them. So, like I said, it got its hook. It's got its hooks into me, and I was along for the ride.
No, and I mean, I've always talked about Persona 5 in so many different ways over it, but the one especially large compliment I always give it, that still is the case, of for a game that had so much of its story rearranged, rewritten, cut around, edited, extended or more, the one core concept of that opening is so strong in that sense of like throwing you into it, giving you a good change of pace, having that natural kind of feeling of growing your friend group without it just being the conceit of like, even like comparing it to Persona 3, like, hey, you live in a dorm, so that just means you automatically just live with these people. There's not like a moment where, all right, I'm actually going to meet and hang out and enjoy like Junpei's company or anyone like that with it. Like that initial couple of hours of meeting the characters, joining the Phantom Thieves, like taking down Kamoshida, is still so strong. The entire game like has moments that definitely, like in my opinion, surpass it. and even in some parts aren't able to, but like it's always kind of chasing that high
Yeah,
that makes a lot of people keep going for the whole game just because it like that feeling of once you finally finish that first palace, you get the ending of and everything for it, like, and you it's kind of like that dopamine rush, and that
absolutely.
sense of just being like, oh, it just keeps you interested, it keeps you hooked, and makes you just want to see like, okay, who's the next person we take down, who's the next like person we're gonna sign up with, and things like that. So that opening has always been so
Yeah,
awesome.
it's definitely not like a flawless story for sure, but like I said, even like warts and all, I thought the story was just engaging all the way to the end. And that was even before they added all the royal content because it was still vanilla. It was just amazing. I loved it. Like I said, I didn't put it down. I got my PS4 that Christmas when I was in France. I brought it back to the States when I was living in my dorm, and I was super jet lagged. I was still stuck on French time, which from Chicago, France is 7 hours ahead. So right now it's quarter to 10. So in France, it's a quarter to 4 a.m. I believe. If my math is correct, it's a quarter to 4 a.m. So I was stuck on French time, meaning I was up all night, and I usually slept through the day. But I also had roommates, or dorm mates, so I couldn't just blast volume really loud in the middle of the night. So I would just put on my headphones while they were asleep and just keep playing Persona 5 like all through the night, and then I would try to stay up because I wanted to get back on a regular schedule because classes were going to start up soon. But usually I'd be out by like 5 at the latest, and then up at 1 or 2 a.m. And then I would just get up from my bed, go to my desk, and just play Persona 5.
So for you then, after playing Persona 5, like, was it just like, okay, let me then just open the floodgates? Like, were you just kind of like waiting for new games like to pick up? Like, where did you then kind of go there in terms of like Megaton stuff and Atlas games as a whole? Like, do you know like kind of like what you picked up next, or like what kind of got your attention, and like what led you to where you are now in terms of like either games that you've been really interested in that like inspired you versus like ones that are still on your like backlog of shame pile?
So the funny thing is, and so and this still makes me laugh when I think about it. After I finished that first playthrough of Persona 5, I did not touch another Atlas game for the rest of the year. Like
Oh wow.
I finished Persona 5. I thought, man, that was a phenomenal experience. I absolutely loved it. But within like a week or two, I had pretty much forgotten about it. And then didn't think about it again until the following Christmas. This would have been Christmas 2019. Well, although I did get excited when that summer for when E3 was still around, they showed off Persona 5 Royal. I was like, oh, that's cool. But didn't really have any excitement for that. It was just like, oh, that's cool, that's nice. But when I came back, so Christmas 2019, same thing. Went back to France for the holidays. Came back, a week before, and once again, I found myself jet lagged. Didn't have much to do, so I thought, on a whim, just randomly, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna play Persona 5. Just playing. I thought I would just play a little bit. It's one of those things like, oh, play a couple hours to like kill time or whatever, and ended up playing the whole thing all over again.
Damn.
Yeah, within just like a few days, and then a couple months later, when Royal came out, I thought it would be the same thing. Like, okay, I'll just play a little bit of it because I just played this game just like 3 months ago, if that, and once again just ended up playing the whole thing. So 3 playthroughs of Persona 5, and I still, surprisingly, I had interest, but I had no immediate plans of jumping into other Atlas stuff.
Wow, that's wild.
I know. But then again, when I played Royal, that first playthrough, it came out when, pandemic. so it's not like I had much to do. But then same thing. Played Royal, loved it. Didn't, but kind of just put it on the back burner. And then Golden got shadow dropped on Steam, and I was so jealous because I didn't have a good enough PC for I had a PC or like a laptop, but it wasn't a gaming laptop. It wasn't well optimized for gaming. So tried to play Golden through that, didn't work, gave up. Then
I love the scenario of like, damn it, it's 2020, my PC can't run this PlayStation 2 remaster.
I couldn't believe it. It's like, come on, I didn't have that much malware on it.
That was especially funny too, just because like, I think while some people were expecting something, nobody, especially like you said, were expecting that game to drop that day.
Yeah.
PC game show out of nowhere. Like, that was still such a wild announcement.
Oh yeah, I probably would have like gone crazy had I been like more deep into all of Atlus's catalog by then. But like I said, I still only had Persona 5 under my belt. So then gave up on that, and then jump to 2021, like February. Strikers came out, and I got that on Switch. And because I was still, I wasn't deep into Atlus, but I was supportive of the idea of Persona 5 and Golden coming to other systems like Switch. So I did my part, bought Strikers on Switch. And after I beat that, that's when I decided, okay, now I'm going to get into like Atlus stuff, like really deep into it. So I tried, I got myself a used PS2, and I got Fess and Persona 4 Vanilla off of Amazon because they were doing like, I don't know, I guess they were newish copies, maybe refurbished, I don't know, for like $30 a piece. So I got those. Started playing 3, but this was right when the semester had ended and I was going to go back to France for the summer, and I didn't want to bring my PS2 with me because I had nowhere to plug it in.
So would those have been ESRB copies, or would those have been like the PAL versions?
No, they were US copies because this was still in the States.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel like those would have been way more expensive for the PAL versions than like $30.
Oh, I'm sure.
Especially
I'm sure. And also quick side note: after I finished Strikers, this is gonna be really embarrassing to say. That's when I started reading Persona fan fiction.
All right. I mean, listen, you already read peak fiction with the Striker script, so really, yeah, there's nowhere else to go but fan fiction.
That symptom. That's when I knew. It's like, oh, now I'm deep into this because I was looking.
The Persona 5 brain rot is real.
Yeah. I was like, okay. Shout out to AO3 and also fanfiction.net. And I even to the point I got so into it to the point that I wrote my own, which
you will now be reading live on the air.
Dude, it's like 1,000 pages. I'm not even kidding.
Oh, so you wrote you wrote fanfic Bibles.
Oh, I wrote a novel. I had this whole story like in my mind of I wanted to write my own like Joker Has a Palace story, but I couldn't find one that scratched that particular itch that I had. So I decided I'm going to write my own. I thought, how bad could it be? It'll probably be like 6 chapters. I had like a small outline in my head. I thought it'd be like 6 chapters max. It ended up being 37.
Damn.
Yeah. And since then, I've even like gone back and added a bonus chapter and an alternate ending, and so now it's 39.
The lore in the Omegaverse runs deep.
Bro. I don't know if I want to share it. I would if there's like any like if I had like any, or if I had no shame at all, I would absolutely like plug it here, but I don't want. But I think I'll hold off on that. Yeah, so I wrote that. Anyway, back to summer of 2021. I so I couldn't I couldn't bring my PS2. But I did want to try giving Golden on Steam another chance, and I was able to play a bit on that same computer that I had, that same laptop that I had. I didn't. I wasn't able to get far though. I barely got past Yukiko's castle, so gave up on that. But I was so like I was itching to play Persona 4, which is funny in hindsight. Well, which I'll get to in a bit. But I was like itching to play it to the point where I bought a Vita. I got a used Vita somewhere, and bought it there, or bought it like digitally. But it said, "Oh, you need a memory card." Okay, got a memory card. The memory card didn't work, so I was like, "Fuck." Oh, is this a swearing podcast?
No, yeah, you
Okay.
can curse. I mean, hey, especially when it comes to A, buying a Vita memory card, and B, post 2020 prices. Yeah, fuck those.
Yeah, I bought it, didn't work, so once again gave up on that. Thankfully, I was able to get Golden on Vita refunded. So I got a bit of money back there. So again, gave up and just decided, all right, I'll wait until I get back to the States and I can just play them on my PS2. Or I was very optimistic at the time because that's when, you remember, the Persona 25th anniversary started, and everyone said, "Oh,
the peak anniversary."
Yes, the anniversary of all time." Everyone's, first thing everyone said was like, "Oh, we're gonna get Persona 4 on Switch." Well, I mean,
We were like, dude, we're gonna get Persona 4, 3, 2, 1. They're gonna be cranking these things out. We're gonna have 900 releases come out this year.
And Alice was like, "Do they know? They will soon." But anyway, I get back to the States. So I have plenty of time before classes start up. I decided to play Persona 3 Fez first. Instead of 4 because once again I was optimistic. I thought if any of them are going to come to Switch, Persona 4 is going to get added on Switch first. So assuming that's what the first anniversary announcement is, I'm going to hold off and play. I played Persona 3 first, and I absolutely loved it. I didn't mind some of the, I guess, jank it had for being a PS2 game, like the graphics or the lack of party control. I didn't mind any of that. I love the story. I love the characters. I really like the gameplay. It felt really good. Like it's hard to describe. Like, I mean, your party members, they won't always do the right move, but when they land the right move, it felt so satisfying. Then rather than just you doing it yourself,
definitely.
So because of that, so yeah, I love that. And it was also, I finished it. It was one night. It was really late. It was like 2 a.m. I remember crying so much. Not at the ending, though I did cry at the ending. But before that, slight spoiler: when you meet up with all your social links at the end, I actually didn't get to finish all of them, but one of the ones I did finish was Akinari's. And when you meet his mom, like on the last or the second to last day or whatever, before the ending, that just hit me so hard that I remember just crying like incessantly. I just remember thinking, I should call my mom.
Dude. I'm pretty much the easiest way for like guilt baiting or like cry baiting me is anything that involves like parent child, like either parent leaving child too early or like children dying on parents and like vice versa.
Yeah.
Like that, for whatever reason, fucking goddamn Guardians of the Galaxy 2 fucking pulling on my heartstrings and making me cry like a baby.
Oh yeah, I feel that. So, but then I did the ending and I kept crying even more then. Although, it's really funny, and and I swear this is 100% true. I didn't realize the protagonist. Well,
Hey everybody, rare editing Spencer appearance here. Skip ahead probably 2 to 5 minutes if you have not beaten Persona 3. Obviously, Reload's been out for a couple of months, but figured just give you guys a warning. Was gonna do it in the text, but it's kind of there's a good discussion here about it, but wanted to just put it in there. If you have not beaten Persona 3 or are worried about spoilers for the very, very, very end of Persona 3, you've been warned. Skip ahead couple 2 to 5 minutes and you should be perfect. Have a good one.
Okay, small spoiler. You can choose to edit out if not, or if you want. I didn't realize the protagonist had actually died when they faded to white.
So that is an interesting one of for multiple reasons, and I because when I beat Reload recently, and I want to bring this up more in like a spoiler cast eventually soon, but
Mhm.
it was funny because I haven't beaten 3 since 20 maybe 2012, 2011, 2012. So it'd been a long time since I'd beaten 3 at all. And yeah, the way it ends, it's almost ambiguous unless you know what's going on, which is always hard to say because obviously if you know the answer and what that's
Yeah,
about, the answer spells it out much more clearly. So it's kind of weird because there was really only like a year of people not knowing what the answer was. So I wouldn't be shocked if kind of going back to when I had first played the Persona 3 originally I think I beat it in 2007 for the first time. I
hmm
remember beating that game and just being like, "Oh wow, what a crazy ending." And not really realizing it at the time of what closing your eyes really meant in that moment,
yeah,
and then what that symbolized until playing the answer. So it is interesting because I even looked it up when Reload. When I beat Reload, I looked it up and I was like, I wonder if people are still writing articles about this. And if you look it up, what does the ending of Persona 3 mean? And it's so funny. People are like, is he napping? What's happening?
like
Is he
screen
gonna wake up? What's going on?
screen rants, doing every details you may have missed in the ending of Persona 3 Reload.
I love the Watch Mojo. Here's our top 5 things that Makoto Yuki's doing after Persona 3.
Yeah, but it's funny that you mentioned the answer because that's when I realized, oh, he actually died. Oh, because I had no idea what the answer was about. I didn't know anything about the answer. I went completely blind there, and so when he's not there, but they're talking about oh yeah, we're shutting down the dorm and everything. It's that's when I knew oh, I had a big whoa moment there.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those funny things of a part of me would almost like it more with the ambiguousness of it because it does kind of lead that in
Yeah.
with it, but also I do like what it does set up, especially then how it's played out.
Oh,
Um,
sure.
in the answer so far, as well as also the repercussions of what it means for everybody in the arena games and stuff like that. So I appreciate what it does with it, and also at the same time, kind of I think in a similar thing with Inception's ending this many years on of I like that there is a definitive ending, even though that does kind of close out the discussion that people had for so many years
hmm
of what really happened, what does it really mean? Because those were always so fun to have as well.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But so that was my experience with 3. Then once again, I held out. I didn't play 4 vanilla right away. Well, no, tell a lie, I did. But I didn't get very far. I beat Yukiko's dungeon, but I found myself so underleveled, and maybe I'm just remembering it wrong, but I don't remember getting shuffle time that much in vanilla. So I was by the time I reached Kanji's dungeon, I was really underleveled. I didn't have much in terms of money or XP or gear or anything like that. So I just I found myself blocked, or I couldn't go back to Yukiko's dungeon to grind. So I don't know. I felt kind of soft blocked, so like, all right, not really for me. I'll just play Golden.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hoped Golden would come to Switch. It didn't. When that first announcement was like, all right, here we go, Persona 4 Golden on Switch. No, here's some digital wallpapers, and also we're releasing the animes, but only in Japan. Or like re-releasing the animes, but only in Japan. And look at all this other stuff that's only in Japan. And the West, yeah, you get digital wallpapers. So at that point, I said, you know what? Screw it. So I got myself another used Vita. This one actually came with a memory card that worked. So thank God for that. And because of that, I was able to get all the Persona games that were on Vita. So that meant Golden, Portable, Innocent Sin, and 1 PSP. Although I couldn't get Eternal Punishment because my PSN account was French, and for whatever reason, Eternal Punishment was not on the French PSN store. So yeah, got kind of got shafted there.
It's yeah, because like the reason is at that time when they had published Persona 3, they basically would have had to. Well, yeah, then by that time it would have been too late as well. So originally, when it was put on the PlayStation Store back in 2012, that was before the Sega Atlas buyout.
Oh,
but for them then to put it on there, they would have then had to have Sega publish it in Europe, then get it rated, and a whole bunch of other things that they probably weren't going to make their money back for a $9.99 like PS1 like port.
yeah.
So that was why that one kind of happened, because the whole reason that Persona 2 Eternal Punishment even is on the PlayStation Store at all is a very last minute thing. I'd love to actually try and get like some of the team on it at the time, because like the original plan was always to put out the remaster of Eternal Punishment on PSP, and then as soon as Atlas Japan basically pulled the rug out from under them at the last minute, they were like, what do we do? Because their plan was like, well, even if the PSP is not very popular, we can still sell it digitally on the Vita store. But if Atlas Japan won't put English in the code, they don't have anyone to do that with the code without Japan's approval, even though they were Atlas. Because like Atlas West at the time was very much more like how NIS America is now. Like NIS America, even though they are NIS in name, and they definitely have a lot more control and power now, they are not Nippon Ichi Software.
Right.
They are a publisher of Nippon Ichi games, and Atlas was very much a publisher and a localizer. First and foremost, they are not developers. They're not like they're not doing these worldwide translations and other things like that. They were very different companies.
Right. That's a shame, but what are you gonna do?
I still believe deep down we will get Eternal Punishment released, that PSP version, in English, because like there was work being done for that. I think realistically the only tricky part would be voice acting, because I think there's no chance in hell of getting. I mean, maybe I say no chance. I'd have to go back and look at the Innocent Sin cast. I feel like for them to then try to re-record, it would be like I forget when they did it, but it would be like that. I think it was Tales of Vesperia. Yeah, because that was the one that was Tales of Vesperia was the one that launched 360 in the West only, and then like an expanded version came out years later on PS3, and then like a decade later in English, and they got some of the cast back to record it, but it had been so long that like some either didn't get invited back, or others people just sounded like different. So like that stuff's always sort of hard to do, whereas like I think if you put out Persona 1 and 2, the PSP versions especially, those have enough modern enough trappings that I don't think people are going to like act like, oh hey, this is a really old game, whereas like Eternal Punishment without having any English voice acting, I think people would hold it against it, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately I mostly agree. But with like how much other series like Yakuza has like exploded in the West, with most of the games not having English dubs, this is just me being optimistic, but I think maybe Persona would be like a different story. But like I said, one can only hope.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, you never know. There's also always a chance that if we do get a port that they go, okay, well, maybe they do like a Nocturne thing or like a P3R situation where, hey, this isn't actually that expensive of a thing to port, so because we're not really putting a lot of development costs into this, let's just get a whole brand new voice cast and redo all these voices for, if not 1, 2, well, I guess 1 and the 2 duology, at the very least the 2 duology, so that you can have consistency.
Right.
Although then I wonder if
honestly,
it would be that weird thing.
I'd rather just have a port of Persona 2. I can't speak for one because I haven't played it, but I'd honestly just rather have a port of Persona 2 rather than a ground-up remake.
No, so I don't mean like a remake. I kind of mean more like a remaster 0.5 in the sense of it's a port of the PSP remake, but they have a couple of little like quality of life things on there. Like the tricky thing I would wonder though, would they find themselves in a Silent Hill HD scenario where like,
Ooh,
okay, well, not in terms of quality, but in terms of the voice acting, because you remember
yes.
the original plan for Silent Hill was like, oh well, hey, we did this brand new voiceover cast for Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3, and we only got Silent Hill 2 English, the original cast, because people basically told Konami, if you don't include the original dub of Silent Hill 2, we will kill you.
Yeah, for some reason they didn't care about 3, or Konami didn't care enough about 3.
I think three's at least, 3 is easier for them to kind of be like, because like 3's voice cast is iconic, but it's not James Sunderland iconic. That is like super, super iconic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing with Silent Hill 2 is that it's such like, I mean, I hate to say it, but the voice acting is really bad in the original. But that kind of lends to like the whole otherworldliness of Silent Hill 2, and that's why I love it so much.
It makes me wonder, especially because we've seen bits and pieces, but we haven't actually heard too much of the Silent Hill 2 remake. I'd be very curious to see who the voice cast is in that.
I'm carrying a pitchfork for that game.
I
hate the idea of it.
I am not a Bloober defender, I'm a Bloober optimist.
Well, you're more of an optimist than I am, because I don't think that game is going to be good, and I just hate, like I said, I just hate the idea of it.
I would rather live in a world where a Silent Hill 2 remake is better than we expected versus a world where we don't get anything at all. But I'm also I'm also a sicko who owns a copy of Silent Hill Book of Memories and happily plays it. So what do I know?
Oh. I'm impressed.
Damn, man, Liam, I think we might be having, if not already, for the record books, one of the longest intros of all time.
Oh wow, this is still the intro. Okay,
this is still the intro. Right. We're like the Liam historians out here frantically taking notes down for it. So I've got to ask now. We're an hour into the show and we still haven't gotten past Persona 5 fanfiction.
No, we're almost done.
When does SMT get into here?
Okay, so I'll do a lightning round quick.
No, I am in no rush. I just thought it was so funny because I was realizing it was like, man, we've been talking about fucking Silent Hill for a long time. Where are we at time wise?
Yeah. So we did get past the Persona 5 fanfiction. Thankfully, we were at me playing Golden on the Vita, on that new used Vita that I'd gotten. So I played Golden there for the first time because Atlas said, fuck you, no Golden Switchboard. So I started Golden on that, and I liked it. This is my like, one of the big things. I think Persona 4 is the weakest of the games I played. I still haven't played 1, but of the mainline games, I like 4 the least. I mean, I still like it. A lot of people say I hate it, and that's not true. I hate parts of it, and I make fun of it a lot. But as a whole, I like Persona 4. I wouldn't mind, playing it every now and then, or just like popping it in. If I had if I had nothing else to do. That sounds mean, but it's true. I do like Persona 4. For me, it's a solid 7 out of 10, and I'm sure I just made some people mad by saying that. So I'll just move on quick from that.
No, you're good, man.
So after Golden, I did Portable. Persona 3 Portable. I did the Katane route. Had a great time with that. Honestly, probably had more fun with that than Golden. Oh god, I am just digging my grave right now. Probably.
No. I mean, those are so drastically different too. Like, I completely get it.
Yeah. And then, so I'm just finished on. So SMT just come in like around this time, but I'm just gonna finish my Persona story.
Yeah,
the
for
Persona
sure.
timeline. Then I played 2 Innocent Sin, the PSP version, and that game has one of the best casts, one of the best soundtracks, one of the best stories, and for the most part, some of the best gameplay. But that combat, at least for the PSP version, is so boring. I really don't like. I was confused at first. Like, oh, this isn't like regular turn-based. This is like, oh, you choose like who does what, who's going to do what for this turn, and then you watch it all play out. I thought, oh, this is good thing I like these characters and I'm into this story, because I would not have continued otherwise. That one I actually played on a plane. When I was coming back. I'm sorry, from now we're in Christmas 2021. I come back, or I was on my way back to Chicago, and I pulled out my Vita, and I just decided to play Persona 2. And I played it through that entire plane ride, and I remember enjoying it for sure. I mean, the combat, like I said, I didn't really love, but I was interested in the story. I was engaged. So that got me through the, 8 to 9 hours on the plane, however long it was. And that's pretty much where my Persona timeline ends. I did play Eternal Punishment. I emulated it in May of 2022. I played it when I had COVID, unfortunately. That was my first time getting COVID.
Some people call COVID the real Eternal Punishment.
Oh boy. I was so upset too, because I almost missed my graduation, because that was the year when I graduated. I was going to graduate from college, and I almost missed my graduation. And one thing I missed that I was really bummed about, one of the final projects I'd done for my music class, we composed a dance piece that was going to be performed by live musicians. And I couldn't go to the performance because I had COVID.
No.
So I didn't get to see the music I spent, the past few months writing. I couldn't get to see it performed live. And no one took a video of it, which I was really mad about. Or wait, no, I'm sorry. No, they took video of the first part of it. It was like a 3-part suite. It wasn't very long. It was I want to say 6 minutes in total, across 3 different parts. I was only able to see the first part on video. No one recorded the other 2. So I would say something's better than nothing, but in this case I was still really disappointed.
No, for sure.
Damn COVID. So that's summer of 2022. Same thing, go back to France. And by this point, I come up with a little tradition for myself, because summer 2021, when I went back to France, I decided to replay Persona 5 Royal. That was my second playthrough of it, and loved it just as much. I found myself actually playing Tycoon during that spring before summer. It became my pastime, because in 2020, spring 2021, we were still in the lockdown, and being in college, I was still doing Zoom classes online, and they just broke me mentally. Like by that point, we'd done it for a year because like April 2020 to April 2021, we were still doing Zoom classes, and by that point, I had enough. And the only solace I was able to get was I would just go to my desk where I would have my classes, walk around, sit on my couch, and just play Tycoon for literally hours. I just had so much fun with it, so it helped me with that. And then I played Persona 5 Royal again when I went back home to France for the summer. And for some reason, I did the same thing again in the next summer. So for a while, that was my
summer of Royal every year.
The summer of Royal, yeah, like the summer of Punk, but better booked. That's a wrestling reference for. I'm sure. I hope some people.
We have wrestling fans.
Let's go. Shout out. So, and yeah, that's pretty much where it ends. From there on, I would just. Actually, after that, that's when we finally got those ports. Well, we got Persona 5 Royal first. Golden and Portable would come out later. But they said, oh, yeah, Persona 5 Royal is coming to Switch. It's coming to Steam. It's coming to Xbox. I was like, all right, well, Steam was nice, but damn, now I want to play it on Xbox because it's still my system. Plus, it was on Game Pass, so even better. So I ended up playing Royal yet again. So I played Royal twice, once again, twice in 1 year within a span of a few months, just like I did in 2020. So at that point, you can pretty much say, yeah, Persona 5 Royal is my favorite game.
I'd actually be worried if it wasn't at this point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this game that I've now put in between Vanilla and Royal, I put in, I think, 6 or 7 playthroughs. I want to say six or seven. I don't know. And in the end, I still think, yeah, this game's good, but it's not my favorite.
The P5 brain rot is very real.
No, it's real. It's still there. But yeah, that pretty much concludes my Persona timeline. Now, SMTs would start back in November of 2021, and I'm pretty sure you know why.
Oh yeah, SMT5. So shit, that was your first one?
Actually, Digital Devil Saga was my first SMT game, or non-Persona.
Let's go, cannibalism.
Game. Yeah. So the funny thing is, I got SMT5, and I played it, and I remember really liking it, the gameplay, but I just couldn't get into the story. So I put it down for a bit. And I'd gotten Digital Devil Saga as a joke.
I wait till they see this one.
Yeah, I did a thing where, it was like Persona 3 and Persona 4 on PS2. Like Amazon had it for cheap, like $20 or whatever. So I was like, I'm gonna get it and just be like, oh, I think Atlas, I think I got the wrong SMT5 Collector's Edition, and just post a picture of Digital Devil Saga. And then I just ended up playing it because everyone, after I posted that, I remember getting some comments being like, oh, Digital Devil Saga is so good. You got to play it. I was like, okay. So I popped it in, and yeah, I remember I really enjoyed it. Although I didn't beat it then. I beat it that's the next spring when I still had COVID. That was actually the first game I ever pulled an ultimate like all-nighter. I stayed up all night to finish it. I started playing it like early in the evening, like maybe like 5 or 6. I literally didn't stop until I finished the final boss, literally 11 a.m. the next, or no, I finished it like, it was more like 8 or 9, but I didn't go to sleep until like 11. So that was my first like ultimate all-nighter. So thank you, Digital Devil Saga, for that. I bought you as a joke, but man, you were so worth it.
Damn, man. So did you beat like both games or just the first one?
That was just the first. I did get the second game afterwards because same thing on Amazon. Though that one I actually only beat recently. I beat it like late last year. And I love it just as much. I still say I prefer the first, just by a hair. I think I like the story. I like the ending
They
the first game
definitely,
as well.
especially with like how close they release, they definitely do feel a lot more like one whole game. So like it is always harder for me to pick like one versus two, which like I like more.
Yeah, I can definitely like bundle them together and say, oh yeah, I love them both equally. But I just really like the ending of one, just that I'll find you, and then that song, Surely Again kicks in. I just love that. It actually made me tear up, but that was probably more due to exhaustion rather than emotions.
So what do you think it was about comparing Digital Devil Saga versus SMT5 that caught your attention? Would it have been like the cast versus like the story or like the gameplay at all?
It was definitely the cast and the story for sure, but I really like the mantra system. I think like the idea of eating your foes and getting mantra. Is that what it's called?
Hmm.
Um, I and that's how you get more skills. It's definitely very grindy, or it can get very grindy, but I don't know. It just there was just something about it that I really felt satisfied. Like every time I finished a new oh god, what are they called? Um, like you get the mantra points, but then to complete your is it just complete your mantra?
I'm pretty sure, but I know which one you're talking about. My
Yeah,
1030 brain is not going to remember it.
yeah. But yeah, that's I just found that really satisfying. I did eventually finish SMT5. Um, I brought my Switch. So now we're back in France, Christmas 2022. I almost said 2022. That was actually the last time I went to France. I haven't been back since
Damn.
because afterwards I got a job and can't really take like a few weeks off
Be
without
like,
like
hey,
losing money.
I'm gonna need to take a French sabbatical. I'll be right back in like 9 months.
Yeah, they'll either be like, "No, we're not paying you," or "Here, we'll pay you. You just got be with you," because France, lol.
It's true.
Um, but yeah, finished SMT5, and so now we're pretty much all cut up. So to this day, I have more that I intend to play soon. Like how soon I don't know, but to date, the only SMT games I have played to completion are SMT5 and the Digital Devil Saga duology. I have four. I have SMT4. I have Strange Journey. I have Nocturne. I have both Raidu games on PS2, surprisingly. Um, and I definitely and Persona 1 as well. I intend to play those. I don't know when, but I will get to them at some point.
Now, quick little hype check for where you're currently at. Where is the Liam hype check meter for Vengeance and Metaphor?
Oh, I am so excited for Vengeance. I actually was thinking, man, I would really like to play SMT5 again. Uh, and there were always like rumors or like those like Photoshop pictures of like, oh, like SMT4 and 5 and Apocalypse on coming to like other systems, and I bought into those a bit. I mean, deep down I knew it wasn't real, but I still bought into them. Um, but I just hope like maybe one day it'll be real, and lo and behold, it's now real. I am gonna buy Vengeance day one. I am so excited for all the new stuff they added. Um, and yeah, I'm just excited to play it again. And same with Metaphor. I'm very, very excited for that. I would say I'm more excited for Vengeance, but that's only because I played it, and Metaphor is a brand new thing. So I'm a little. So my hype is a little tempered for that, or more measured, I would say. But Vengeance, I'm very excited. I'm also very excited for Metaphor.
Do you are you planning on playing them on Xbox or where do you think playing them both at?
Xbox.
I will say when I go to pick up next month, which by the way, holy fuck, I can't believe it's next month.
I know.
Um, I was thinking about this of like, man, it's gonna feel weird like holding like because like there were different moments for Persona games. Like I remember when I got Strikers for the first time because I imported it
Hmm.
from Japan. I was like, wow, this is weird that this is on Switch. And I remember, like we talked about with Soul Hackers 2, it'd be like, wow, this is really weird that this is on Xbox. I think it's doubly going to feel that way. Like a similar one, like I know a lot of people had that feeling when Persona 5 finally got ported to PS5, Xbox, and Switch. It was that thing of like being like, whoa, this feels like wrong almost because it's been system exclusive for so long. I think SMT 5 especially is going to be interesting because especially leaning on the fact that if you didn't play Nocturne HD,
Hmm.
PlayStation hasn't had a new SMT game in 2 decades,
Wow, that's
and
insane.
Xbox hasn't had one since SMT 9. Now, why are they going back
SMT9.
4 games? Well, don't think about it too hard.
I
So that'll be super super weird, and I'm already ready for the stupid amount of looks I'm gonna get because me being a complete deviant, I did order 3 copies because I have to own a copy on PS5, Xbox, and Switch. Switch because I need the dumb steelbook, Xbox because why not, and then PlayStation 5 because that's where I play all my games at. But yeah, metaphor is also like I get the comparison of like what like I feel like deep down I should be more excited for metaphor, but because of how excited I am for all the changes and like it feels a little bit more real, especially with how close it is. All the
Mhm.
new stuff for Vengeance it does also have me more excited for that versus a new product like Metaphor.
For sure. Also, like with metaphor, so one thing I don't usually do is I don't watch all the trailers and I don't like read into or read about the games like before they're out. I try to go in like knowing as little as possible.
Well,
So
do I
that
have a 6 hour Japanese live stream for you?
yeah, because I don't know, it's both like I feel like it's both to my benefit and to my detriment. Benefit because, when I do play the game I could be very surprised by some stuff, but to my detriment, I could also be like, this wasn't right quite what I expected, even though I didn't know what I expected. So yeah, because of that I don't watch all the trailers. I did watch the presentation that they had, uh, which actually happened on my birthday,
Oh, was that the
April 22nd.
50 new facts
Yeah,
video?
it was like I think so. It was like a 30-minute or whatever
Yeah,
presentation. Yeah, I did.
yeah.
Yeah, that was on my birthday, and so I did watch that, and I was like, oh man, I like what I'm seeing so far. I really like what I'm seeing.
Now because it's so close to your birthday, they will be just sending you a copy, right? Is that how this works?
I mean, I won't say no to a copy.
Can you imagine just like you get a random thing in the mail like next month that just says, "Hey Liam, happy month and a half late birthday. Here's the game early. Also, don't tell anyone we gave this to you. Bye."
well, now you planted the idea. I'm just gonna manifest.
It's out there.
Yeah,
Some poor Atlas intern is listening to this show and is like, "Well, someone's got to do it, I guess."
hopefully it's. I would say it's the same person who leaked Reload early.
No, that guy,
But
that guy was put
launch
down.
fire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were shot with the firing squad very quickly.
F's in chat for that one Alice employee.
Yeah, intern son. I barely knew ye. We appreciate you. Thank you for your service, is what we should say. Also,
I didn't know you at all, but you were real for that.
I like to imagine like people thought that they did it for Reload, but really they were like big Tactics RPG fans. They were like, God damn it, the world needs to know about Tactica.
I actually really love Tactica.
As I'm, dude, I I've I beat that game way later than I wanted to, and I only felt bad for it in the fact of like I want to do a spoiler cast for it, but it feels like it's been so late
Hmm.
that I'm like I know people would be interested, but like I want to try and do something that would like kind of be an interesting twist on it. I've got an idea, but I don't want to like give it away. I'll send it to you, or I'll tell you about it like after the show. But I have a really dumb idea for a spoiler cast that would probably, it would be an interesting thing if you beat the game, but would be very like it is a very untraditional idea for like a spoiler cast if you've ever heard one before.
Okay.
Um, but damn, hour and 30 minutes in, I think we're ready for the topic of the show. How about you?
Oh man, that was the longest intro ever. It's like
So Liam,
like the Friday the 13th remake.
yes. Oh my God, jeez, that is actually really long. Liam, we're here. You're still working off the con hangover. You've survived Anime Central.
Oh, actually, can I do one last
Oh
thing?
yeah, please.
So, one thing I didn't mention during that whole time was when I started doing covers.
Oh shit, yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah, well, how did the cover
So
start?
I'll just run through it really quickly. I started. So this would have been around October, November 2021, around when SMT5 came out. Though that didn't have anything to do with it. For whatever reason, I've been learning like Persona songs because I wasn't really deep into Mega 10 yet. I started learning Persona songs on guitar, and I remember the first one I ever posted was a cover of the rearranged version of Maya's theme. It was like redone by Kitajo, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, oh man, this sounds great. And it's really fun to play. So I just filmed myself. I just propped my phone up, filmed myself playing it, and that got a good amount of attention. I didn't have any following then, but it got some attention from a few now who I consider good friends and some other mutuals, and just started doing it for fun. Like I said, it was very garage band. Like I just put my phone up. Though I did like have a guitar or multi effects unit, so I would change different tones, do different guitar effects to like try to make the cover sound good, or like trying to make the guitar sound good. But in the end, the audio was just kind of, it was like phone audio, so not great. So wasn't really happy with how. By summer of 2022, I wasn't really happy with how they sounded, even though I'd done a lot by then. I got rid of most of them. And then when I moved into my current apartment, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this more seriously. So I did, I started like taking the tracks off of like YouTube or wherever, putting them into Logic, which is my DAW, my digital audio workstation. And actually recording guitar. Same thing. I brought my phone up to film myself, but the audio is like now like actually, well, professional, but professional with an asterisk.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely not like, I would say I'm competent. I'm not like a great audio engineer. That's not what I focused on in school. It was more like composition wise, not really the technical side. But you've heard how they sound. They sound competent enough.
No, yeah. I mean, I always really, really appreciate your covers. I'm trying to think of the first one that I really, really recall off the top of my head was one of the earlier ones you had done from. I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to remember when you had done. Let me see if I can look it up. But when would you have done Strikers?
So that would have been. So I did when I was still doing like the, phone audio, the phone audio era. I'll call it. I did Last Surprise Scramble, which I thought was pretty good for what it was at the time. When I've yet to redo it since I've gone back and redone like pretty much all of the ones I did in the phone audio era. I'm pretty sure. There's still a couple I'm sure there's still a couple I missed, but when I started doing them, like I do them now, I think the first Strikers one I did was Welcome to the Jail. And that one, I remember, actually got retweeted by Atlas, which I was very, very excited about. So that might have been the first one you saw. It was I want to say it was like October of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember the first one I did from my new apartment. The first one I did was it was Nocturne, World Map, Last Area, which actually I plan to redo again, because that's when I still had no idea really what I was doing, but now I have a better idea, and I want to give it another shot, even though I'd say I'm still happy with that one.
And like, so when you saw that get retweeted by Atlas, was that like a noticeable kind of difference between like what you'd been posting before on Twitter of like, oh, this is bringing in like a much larger kind of like audience, or like what was that kind of like for you?
Oh, absolutely. I remember just like I saw like I would just that thing when you get a banger tweet, you get likes and retweets coming like that, and I saw the views like they would go up as well. And I think something similar happened when I did either not long before or not long after I did the fog, and that one didn't get retweeted by Alice, but I did see them like it. But I don't know if that had anything to do with that particular like count or retweet count or whatever. But I was just happy that Alice was seeing them. And so funnily enough, back in the summer when I was still in France, I decided to just like repost like a couple of the ones I deleted because some of them were pretty good. And so you probably remember around that time we had like Atlas Twitter person who would just like post like jokes and memes every now and then.
They were allowed to have fun.
When they were allowed to have fun, yeah. And so one of the ones I redid, or not redid, but reposted was it was Reach Out to the Truth. And they saw that. They liked it. They liked it so much they actually DM'd me like directly.
Yo,
like,
damn.
Saying you know what? I could probably find that DM. I probably still have it. Because, me and Alice West were so tight.
Hey, Liam, thanks for the cover. We loved it. Our lawyers will be contacting you soon. Thanks.
Yeah. I did end up getting sued, which, sucked, but hey, it is what it is.
I just imagine you got like the subpoena on the fridge. You're like, look.
Yeah. So I found the message. They wrote, and maybe consider cutting this out because I don't want to actually get sued. Amazing covers, BTW. I swear I listened to that video like 5 times in a row. So that was
awesome.
when I for the Reach Out to the Truth. So that was a big wow moment for me.
That's that is like super super cool, and I guess that kind of a good segue as well was we met for the first time very briefly last year with the Anime Expo concert and stuff for it. You'd been going to AX before, is that right?
No, that was my first time at AX. That was actually my first time in California.
Oh man, and I'm still trying to pay it off.
Oh, God.
So that was where I had first. I think I was either. I think I had recognized you first because I had seen you there, and someone like had retweeted what you were wearing, and I had come up to you there. But it was one of those funny things of it was so funny how many of us were all like, "Oh yeah, like we're here for AX," but like literally, if like we were here for the concert, like we would have flown anywhere for the concert.
I went home the next day because I was literally only there for the concert. I mean, I flew in like 2 days before because I was staying with a friend. Then like they showed, and since it was my first time in LA, they showed me around. They got me in and out for the first time, which big fan. So I got to see like the Santa Monica Pier, and we went around. I think They were in Santa Ana.
Oh yeah.
So I went around there for a bit, and then the next day, that's when we went to AX, and they were like, yeah, we definitely don't want to like stay around too long because they had been to AX before, and they didn't really enjoy it that much. They kind of described it as one of those things where like if you're a con goer, you you should go to AX at least once in your life, but that's pretty much all you need.
I am morbidly tempted. I would have loved to go this year if I didn't have other things going on. We've got like a family party that'll be going on around the same time, but like
Mm.
I would like to go back next year. I will say my every time I talk about AX, it is always very skewed though. Of like I always feel like I need to remind people, be like, okay, important to know though. While Spencer had no big complaints, I also literally never had to wait in lines. So like that also will be a big difference in making that.
Yeah, but I was actually really surprised when you came up to me because I mean I didn't know what you looked like, but I guess I wasn't surprised that someone like retweeted me in my I think I was in a Metallica shirt that day. But I was really surprised, and it was and that was the first time I met you in person, and it was also the first time I met Larue in person.
That was ironically the same thing as well. That day was the first time I'd ever met him, even though I think we had known each other at least a decade at that point,
Mm.
which is
Wow, a
hilarious.
decade.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had just never had any reason to be back in LA, and if I was, it was never anywhere near him. So it was always funny. Of like,
Right.
we have a lot of mutual friends that we've known through the community, and especially like both coming from SMTN with like the
Hmm.
Facebook group. But while like because like the closest we would have ever come to meeting up would have been like the previous like Lotus Juice concerts and stuff in Arizona, but those just never ended up happening. And then it was a thing of, oh, I would know friends who like live hours, if that even, away from him in California. So that was always the funny thing of just being like, oh yeah, like I've had friends I've known for less time who've seen him multiple times, just whether it be like for like Atlas related events and whatnot for it, but just always missed each other.
Mm. Yeah, I've definitely had like that. Obviously not with like, or I've had that with friends like who couldn't make it to certain cons before, but I definitely know the feeling.
And so minorly related, we've made it here, everyone. Listeners, congratulations, you made it to topic of the show. They said it
Yeah,
couldn't be done. You made it. Liam, you survived Anime Central. You've
for the third time.
the third time's the charm. They finally got someone worth going out there for. Lotus Juice got brought out, and let me tell you, when I heard that got announced, I was fucking pissed. I was like, God damn it! And it
Yeah,
was only because I had
so was
already
I actually.
planned on going to another convention, so I could not justify it.
Right, I was actually also pissed because I was for financial reasons. I was thinking, you know what, maybe I'll skip out on ACEN this year, and then Lotus Juice got announced. I was like, you motherfucker. Okay,
And,
fine,
and,
you
and,
got me.
and then we opened up the GoFundMe. We're like, all right, everybody, help baby's third cousin get to Lotus Juice. He needs it.
Maybe his third cousin. I'm gonna change my Twitter handle to that.
That would be like such a deep cut. Like my OC is Bebe's third cousin twice removed.
Maybe his third cousin twice removed. Exactly.
So yeah, man. Like let me just hear the whole story of like from getting tickets to going to the convention itself and concert as well. Let's hear. Let me live vicariously through you.
All right, I'll try and keep it like abridged because if I do like every single beat, it's we're probably going to be here for another 4 hours. Um, but basically, yeah, got the tickets. I couldn't get them mailed in time because, like I said, I wasn't planning on going. But then they announced Lotus Juice, and I want to say it was after the mailing deadline. But it could have been before, and I just waited. I probably waited too long because I needed to get approved for time off for my job. Um, but got tickets. So Friday. Friday morning, I make my way there. I see on Twitter while I'm on the way there. I see on Twitter, oh, this year they have security checkpoints, which that's a new thing.
Yeah, I'd heard there was way more cops and security this year than like ever before.
Well, I don't know about cops, but they definitely had they had security checkpoints. They had three at the main entrance to the convention center, the Donald D. Stevens Center, and they had one for the Hyatt. So have you been to Anime Central before?
Never before, but I know like the area and like the hotels and
Yeah.
stuff.
So like the Hyatt Regency is the hotel that's connected to the convention center, and they have this thing called the Skywalk. It's like a long hallway. It takes a while to walk, but it basically connects the Hyatt Regency to the convention center. And there was only one. It's a really small hallway, so they only had one security checkpoint. And apparently, from what I heard, it was very cramped, long line, super hot because there was no air conditioning apparently. So if anyone went through that day one or any of the days, and it just took forever to get through, my heart goes out to you. But when I went there, because I came in from, all I had to do was take the train. So I just got off the station, and it's like a 5-minute walk from the station to the convention center. And again, only 3 checkpoints, but they moved fairly quickly. So it wasn't that, or at least outside. I don't know about the Skywalk, but outside they moved fairly quickly. So it only took about maybe 5 minutes ish for me. But then again, I also got there a little bit late.
By the way, was this like an extra ticketed thing, or was this just as long as you had a badge, you could go to the concert?
No, this was everyone had to go through this. From what I heard, I think it was them just implementing more security measures, because I guess something happened last year. I couldn't tell you what. I heard rumblings that maybe someone brought a prop gun into one of the raves.
It can't be worse than that dude who just straight up brought an AK airsoft gun in a Bomb Voyage costume. When I saw that recently, I was like, what's happening to us as a society right now?
I don't know, but whoever ruined it for us this year, thanks. But like I said, I got there kind of late. Well, I say late. It was I think I got there maybe around noonish, because the night before I'd worked the night shift and got home at 2:30 a.m. So I wanted to sleep in a little bit. But I did have to stand in line once again to pick up my badge because, like I said, couldn't get the mailing. And that took about 20 minutes. But like I said, that also moved fairly quickly. So it wasn't that bad. It was a bit warm in the convention center, though, at least in the entrance. But, did what I needed to do, got my badge. And then from there, I went to my first panel. Usually I would walk around Dealers or Artist Alley, but I didn't have time. I went to a panel that was hosted by Raj Ramia. I hope I'm saying that right.
Oh, yeah, nice.
The other performer at the concert. And he talked about his the company he's a part of, Strawberry Hill Music. They do voice acting, they do music, compositions for video games, anime. They work with tons of big studios. And I'll be honest, it kind of got me interested in trying my hand at voice acting. I've had this idea that maybe I would like to try voice acting. But after that panel, I think, at least try to give it a shot. Or at least if I decide to try and give it a shot at some point down the road, I have a nice place where to start because they do voice actor workshops with other voice actors as teachers. So, that's I got that in my back pocket if I want to give voice acting a shot. So
Nice.
after that, I met up with Gnarly, Crawling Gnarly, because not long after that, there was Lotus Juice's panel. He was doing like, you know, history of Lotus Juice, the Lotus Juice lore, if you will, which definitely
The
didn't last as long
juice
as
lore.
yes, the juice, not O.J. Simpson juice, like the Lotus.
Well, I mean,
Juice.
listen, OJ's dead, so now there's only really one juice.
Exactly. Thank God for that. uh, by the way, shout out to the to that video of Norm Macdonald just shitting on OJ.
Oh my god, it's one of my favorite SNL compilations.
I found that like not long after he passed away. I've like rewatched that several times. God, what a legend! I'm just so sad that he passed before OJ did because he would have gone wild that day. But anyway, so yeah, met up with Gnarly. We stood in line really early for Lotus Juice's panel. We caught up, talked. We talked about Persona. What have we been up to? We talked about Yakuza and Like a Dragon because the last time I had seen him was ACEN the previous year. Well, actually, I bumped into him briefly at AX, but we didn't get a chance to talk. But when we met at ACEN last year, I was saying that I was going through the Yakuza games at that point. And he asked me what I thought of 5. I was like, I haven't been there yet. I'm still on, I think it was on 3 at the time. But now that I finished them all, I was able to say like, oh yeah, I did not care for 5 at all.
At all?
Well, not at all. I'm harsh. I'm
Five is unique, but it's at least, I would always say this, it's at least worth a playthrough.
It's definitely worth one playthrough, but that's the only playthrough I'm probably ever going to do of Yakuza 5 because honestly, most of it, just I was bored. Saijima's part, I was bored. I didn't care for Shinada's part. I mean, it's baseball. I don't care about baseball, even though I live literally like a few minutes, well, not a few minutes, but like 10 minutes away from Wrigley Field. I'm just not a baseball guy. So it just overall felt really bloated to me. And I don't know, I guess to be kind, like to let it down easy. I just probably didn't get Yakuza 5. That's the best way I can describe it, really.
See,
I didn't
Liam,
get
when
it.
you become a disgruntled ex-Yakuza who runs an orphanage, you'll finally understand the complexities of Yakuza 5.
Well, I did understand the complexities of Yakuza 3 and 4.
The famous saying, Yakuza too deep for me times 5.
Yeah, or 4 act 1s and then an act 3 is how I see Yakuza 5.
Who really needs a middle act?
Yeah. Though I will say, Haruka's part, I had the most fun I had in that game for real. I loved the mini games. I loved playing as Haruka. And then Akiyama returning just made it all better.
True.
But yeah, so anyway, I keep getting sidetracked. So yeah, talked with Gnarly. We just hung out until the Lotus Juice panel. And so yeah, he basically went through like his history in a way more organized fashion than we did for mine.
What do you mean? There wasn't a 90-minute Jersey backstory monologue he went on?
He didn't. No, he didn't. He went through his backstory in a third of the time it took us.
I didn't know
minutes.
that I thought he had just gone to do a concert. I didn't know there was a panel. I'm gonna have to see if anyone recorded that. That's crazy.
I know Gnarly did. I don't know if I should. I don't know if I was supposed to say that. I don't know like what is supposed to be said or not.
I know he recorded the concert. I didn't know he had recorded the panel. I'll have to see if I can bump that off of him.
Yeah, he recorded the panel.
Nice.
But it was like yeah. So he went through his backstory in 30 minutes, which what a pro compared to us. And then he just did like a 30-minute Q&A. I did go up. I think, what did I ask him? I don't think I asked him anything. I just said like how his like the rhythms in his raps have influenced my guitar playing, which is true. Like some of the rhythms like that he says, I try to play along with the rhythm of which he raps, and it's kind of like influenced me a lot because of that. So whenever I do a cover and I try to do some like particular rhythms, if it depends if I'm doing a song that has Lotus Juice on it, like Mass Destruction, for example, I try to like play along with his rapping if there isn't like a solid chord progression or riff that I can just play instead. So because of that, he's inspired me a lot. And so I just said, thank you for all you've done. Love your stuff. So that was that panel. After that, gosh, I really don't remember. After that, it's kind of a blur. I think we just walked around. We just walked around. I think we hung out for a bit. I think I went to the gaming room, the gaming hall. One of my favorite things to do at ACEN is play Rock Band in the gaming hall.
Oh God, I love it. Any either Rock Band if they have like the imported like Japanese rhythm games, or like the open mic karaoke is always great.
Yeah, they actually did both. So I did one song of Rock Band. I played bass on AFI's Miss Murder, which what a bass line, so good. And then for the karaoke, I did Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind.
Oh, nice.
I was actually surprised I was able to like rap that. I usually slip when it's doing Crystal. See, I just did it right there. Doing Crystal Myth will lift you up until you break, it won't stop. But
I gotta say, I really wish I'd known you guys were at the panel. I would have paid one of you guys to ask me a question. I've been telling myself this ever since this year. The next time I get a chance to, on the record, ask Lotus Juice a question, my first question is going to be, how do you have the balls to rhyme business with business? Because, like, oh, I don't even hate it. I think it's one of those things of, like, that's like Eminem rhyming orange with orange, of, like, that's so stupid, I love it.
That's one of my... So you remember how I said, like, before I wasn't really into music, and now I'm pretty much a music snob. One of my biggest pet peeves in music is when they rhyme words with each other.
The fact, like, because it's also like such an early line in the Iwatodai dorm, like, it's like every day I hear it, and I just yeah. Like, I'm gonna have that on my tombstone of, like, to this day, Spencer still has never gotten over rhyming business with business.
I mean, it's silly for sure when someone like Lotus Juice does it, but so for some reason this came up when a song like Meet Virginia by Train, for example, rhymes president with president. I'm just like, cringe. But yeah, so after gaming hall, like I said, honestly, I don't really remember much of Friday.
Was there anything any like crazy standouts in the vendor hall in terms of, like, because, like, for me, I'm really good at saying no to stuff, but I do always love looking at everything just to be like, that's great. Yeah. Like, that's, like, there's always, like, it ironically always gives me good ideas for things I want, even if I can't justify buying them.
Yeah, I looked at some of the figurines, but I'm not really a figurines guy, so I've mostly gravitated towards the retro gaming store, and where they have, like, Japanese imports. And they had, one of the things I saw that was really cool was a sealed Nocturne Maniacs edition.
Oh, nice!
Which I thought.
Was it Maniacs, like DMC Maniacs, or like the Rido cover Maniacs Plus?
No, it was the Rido cover.
Awesome.
And they had the others too. I think they had like the gray Nocturne cover and also the purple one. And they also had like other like Persona stuff. They had like I think they had a sealed portable. They had Persona 2 on PSP. They just had some really good stuff that was just coolest to look at. Oh, and they also had like Rido, the second one.
Oh, damn, nice.
So yeah, a lot of good stuff. So I looked at that. Oh, I remember. Okay. So later on, I went to Cassandra Lee Morris was hosting a panel. She did tarot card readings.
Oh, cool.
So she did one for like she did one. She, we all knew it was only an hour panel, so she wasn't gonna get to everyone. But she did one for
You're gonna
like
die.
everyone.
You're gonna die. You're gonna be alone. You're gonna die. All right, the rest
I
of you are all
wish.
gonna die.
I wish. No, what we got was like one the one I remember that, or one of the readings that we got for all of us was I think like good fortune or something. It's like that can't be true for me. I know.
Hey,
They
man,
know
you
me.
you never know.
Oh, hopefully. Actually, one of the things I'm planning on doing is moving out of my current place and moving in with some friends, or getting an apartment with some friends to cut down on rent. So, fingers crossed for that. But yeah, so we did that panel, or I went to that panel. That was nice. That was just me. I don't think Gnarly wasn't there. Met back up with him. We had some drinks at one of the bar at the Hyatt Regency, and we just talked some more. It was him and his girlfriend. And then I went to my first room party at a con, which I'd never been to one before. went to one there. Oh God, I puked on my sleeve. That's pretty much what I remember.
Nice.
Vividly. I didn't puke a lot. I just a little bit came out when. So at that point, I'd had a Long Island, 2 margaritas, and like some really strong alcohol. I couldn't remember what it was. It was like Moretto, I think it was called.
What an awful combination of liquor.
Yeah, and whatever like punch they were serving in the actual room. So yeah, I probably need a lot of water the next day. And I was very hungover.
I don't know how I've done it. I still have never been drunk, and it's very weird.
How? Not once?
Yeah, no, like I drink, but like my thing is I make social drinkers look like alcoholics. Um, my thing with it also is like every time I ever drink, I'm always following it up with water. I very rarely am just having alcohol. So it goes through like I feel like with me being a bigger guy, like it would require a lot more alcohol, but like I've pounded down like entire like giant mugs full of like either Guinness or like Sapporo and stuff and like been completely fine.
Yeah, I usually sometimes eat as well, like when I drink, so I don't you don't get drunk off of that. But that time I had eaten before, a while before, but whatever I'd had to eat that wasn't enough to soak up all the booze I was consuming that night.
But I mean, I think at least especially like if you hadn't been to one before, like having at least the worst thing that happens be like puke on your sleeve could be way worse.
Yeah. No, it definitely wasn't like the most I puked while drunk for sure.
I mean, could you imagine though? Be like, I ended up puking. I thought it was my sleeve. It was actually Lotus Juice.
Well, I puked in my hand. I puked in my hand, and some of it got in my sleeve. But I was like, I just and they're like, all right, back to what were we saying? So I shook it off like a champ. But yeah, that was basically my Friday. Con.
So Saturday was the concert, right?
Yeah, Saturday I pretty much went straight from. Oh, I forgot to mention Friday I was cosplaying as Majima.
Oh, nice.
And then Saturday I cosplayed as Junpei.
Now are we like talking like regular Junpei, like reload Junpei?
I guess regular Junpei. Okay. I mean, it was. I mean, my cosplay was I had his hat that I got a while back. I think I got it like sometime last year. So I had the hat, and I had the protagonist's cosplay, which you might have seen. I've done a few covers in cosplay. So all I really needed was like a blue shirt and like maybe some chains to put on my pants. So I just quickly got those off of Amazon, and bam, Junpei cosplay.
Nice.
So I think I went pretty much directly, where I went to get in line for the concert. I think Gnarly was already there, because there was a line for the official line, so there was an unofficial line. And so I think the concert didn't start. It was at 2:30 or 2:30? And I think by like people were already lining up before even 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. Excuse me. If they'd been like lining up like the night before, that would have been amazing. But yeah, met up with Gnarly in line, and surprisingly, it went by pretty quick, or at least it didn't feel long. So they let us in. So at 2:30, Raj, he performed like some songs from some animes. I think he did a song, I want to say, from Wolf's Rain, maybe Made in Abyss as well, and also a Cowboy Bebop song. I couldn't name the songs, unfortunately.
I forget the name of it. There was a song he did from, I think, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like the first or second season. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Roger or Lotus Juice?
Lotus Juice.
Yeah, Lotus Juice did a JoJo song. He did Overdrive.
Yes, Overdrive is the one I was trying to think of.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, Raj he was like, hey, let's write a song together. So he had 3 people like come up to the mic and basically give him a word, right? The first person, their word was bussy.
Oh my god. Couldn't even make it past the first word.
Nope. The second word was persona.
Oh god, these are terrible.
The third word was love. So with those 3 words, he strummed the 3 basic chords, like a G, a C, and a D, the 1, 4, 5 in the key of G major. That's some music theory for you. And he just went, bussy persona love. You know, she had bussy persona love.
Oh my god.
I have a clip. I'll send to you when we're done. But it was just, it was so funny.
That is hysterical. Oh my god.
Also, quick, backtrack quickly. So while we were waiting for the show to start, you know how sometimes I constantly play songs. Almost knocked my drink over. You know how sometimes they play songs like speakers just to get the crowd something to listen to. So they were playing songs. So they played a couple of like Euro beats, like from Eurovision. One of the songs was, I can't remember the name of it, but it was by Windows 95 Man. Oh, it was No Rules by Windows 95 Man.
Man, dude, if you had Windows 95 Man there, I would have lost my shit.
Yeah, they played that. And then they were like playing stuff like they played Take On Me by Aha, which some of the crowd actually sang the chorus, which was really nice. And then they played When Doves Cry by Prince, which I got really hyped about because I love that song. And
what an interesting playlist.
I know,
Jesus Christ.
That's what I was saying with the people I was sitting next to. I was like, man, who made this playlist? Because it's great taste. And we were like throwing out like what other like possible songs they could play. Like someone said Not Like Us, which I laughed. But I threw out the song I threw out was Numa Numa. They play Numa Numa.
Oh my god.
And lo and fucking behold, Numa Numa started, and I lost my shit. I was like, "Oh my god, there is no way." I said that as a joke, and then suddenly everyone was going Maya, hey, Maya, hoo, and throwing their arms up like the Numa Numa guy.
Oh my god, that is fucking great.
So that was a big highlight. And then so that happened, and then Raj did his set, and then finally, 2 hours and 7 minutes in, finally, I'm talking about the Lotus Juice concert.
We made it, folks.
And man, he was amazing. He did his set. He did a lot of originals. Like the first, I want to say 4 or 5 songs he did, they were all originals, like his original tracks. And they were really, really good. Like
his solo stuff, I think is incredibly underrated.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he's most known with like the Persona games and everything for it, but I mean, like even his newer stuff with Amadeus and like his his first two albums, I remember listening to them a lot leading up to seeing him live for the first time, and it was just like, dang, like this is I really really like it, like to the point where like I'm probably one of 5 people who've asked him to do this, but I'm like he has 3 albums. And the fourth one was digital only, and I remember being so bummed because I was like, "Damn, I want to add this to my, I want to add this to my fucking, I need to add this to my Lotus Juice CD collection."
Was it Carpe Diem?
Carpe Diem, I've got Carpe Diem and Only a Test
Okay.
physically. He's got also, I forget what was it. I think Nani the Fuck is probably a single, but there's Natsuno Nanika and Like a Fine Flower.
I see. Yeah, I listened to after that concert I listened to Carpe Diem, and I really liked it. So I wanna listen to his other solo stuff.
Carpe Diem was a funny one of I hadn't listened to that one as much before seeing him live for the first time back in this would have been 2014, maybe 2015, because I remember when we were waiting for his concert back then. This was I think they had like found a box of like a couple of CDs left,
Oh,
and this would have been all like first print run stuff. So what was funny about it was it was like, oh hey, cool, you can buy merch, because like he did not bring like any merch at all for this concert. It was just like, hey,
damn.
we have a couple of CDs left, I'm gonna bring, like, he probably had like less than 20 CDs of like each one that you could pick up, and it was like $10 a CD, and especially if anyone has like a Test is very much like a normal, like traditional, like jewel case CD case. It's nothing anything crazy.
Mhm.
Carpe Diem is like a very fancy like digipack
Yeah,
like release. It's a
he
very very nice set.
he was actually selling those like fancy like cases of Carpe Diem, like his album. After the show, they set up a table, he and Raj, where they did like some autograph signings. I would have loved to buy one, but unfortunately it was cash only, and I didn't have any cash. But thankfully he did sign my C's armband.
Oh
Both he and
yeah.
Raj. So I was really happy with that. But yeah, after on Sunday when I went to work from the con, which was depressing, that's when I listened to Carpe Diem, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm definitely gonna check out his other soul stuff.
What was another one? I think. Okay, yeah. So I pulled out my CD here. So 2015 is when I got him to sign Carpe Diem and Like a Test. The ones that I had him sign in 2014, which sounds way less cool by comparison of like both of them, but like at the time, especially because all of them were there, I have the Persona Q Collector's Edition soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
I had because they had all 3 of the vocalists there. So there was the Persona 3, 4, and Lotus Juice were all there. All the vocalists from it had all of them signed it because it was all the vocal
That's
tracks
amazing.
on that album.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one bummer I will say from like listening to like the show a little bit with it, love, like, and I only mean bummer in the sense of like I wish I had more FOMO outside of dang, I would have loved to have gone no matter what for it.
Mhm.
The show, all the clips and everything I've seen looked really, really great. It looked super fun. My one bummer, I hate that Atlas has gotten more strict in terms of what they'll let them play outside of like Persona Super Lives. Because man, it would have been so cool, even if it was just little things of just being like, "Hey, can you play just play like some of the ones that aren't just like obviously." It may be. I mean, I don't know. Like even something as like little as like playing any of his tracks from Reload would have been cool. But I mean, I'm even talking about if he like played any of his stuff, even from like Q2 or things like
Yeah,
that.
or Arena or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Was he on Arena? I just said that randomly.
I'm pretty sure he has a track in Arena, but was there any like tracks that kind of stood out to you of like it? Because my thing always when I go to see musicians live that I always appreciate is like there's something about like seeing a song live that even if it's not like your favorite song, like I'll get like a newfound respect for something of like, dang, I didn't realize this song would go this hard, but like really appreciating it like that.
Well, like I said, I definitely enjoyed like everything he played, even though from his solo stuff I couldn't name them. But I enjoyed them a lot. I would say the Overdrive from JoJo's. I didn't like I said, I'm not an anime guy, very very much, but obviously I know of JoJo. And when he played that song, I was like, man, this goes hard. And I also really liked during the breakdown he did the JoJo pose, which I thought was really cool. Even if I didn't get it. But yeah, I really it was just great to see him perform. He was on point. He did not miss. I loved how he transitioned into the Persona stuff. He was wearing this big shirt for when he was doing like the songs before, and he was like, "Do you guys mind if I take off my shirt?" He took it off, and it's revealed like a big hee-ho, like Jack Frost shirt, and that's when we knew like, oh, now we're getting into the Persona stuff. So he launched right away. Well, after like a little bit of build up, he launched into Backside of the TV, his remix, and we all lost it. Because man, that remix, that honestly, like you were saying, that question, if I got like any newfound appreciation, definitely Backside TV. I like the song like as it is, like the version of Persona 4 and everything, and I also liked his remix for Persona 4 Dancing. But it's one of those things, like you hear a song and you think, oh, I like this is good. But then you hear it live, and it's like a whole different beast, So just from hearing it live, hearing like the crowd go wild for it, it definitely like I got a newfound appreciation for it. And in fact, yesterday I did my own cover of it, which I'll release at some point.
Oh, nice!
I have a couple. So this concert actually reinvigorated me, and the SMT concert last year also did the same thing, because at that time I was thinking, you know what, I think I want to stop doing covers. Maybe it was just like burnout because I'd done like so many at that point. But the SMT concert like made me like, all right, I want to do more. I don't want to stop. I want to keep doing this. And I found myself, and I got, like a second win. So I got into doing more SMT stuff. So I did some tracks from Nocturne. I did a Strange Journey track. I did I think I did some from 4 if I hadn't already. And I still have a couple others that I haven't recorded yet, but I have tracks ready for that I'll get to at some point. And the Lotus Juice concert was the same thing. I did Backside of the TV. I plan to do Fate is in Our Hands from the Persona 2 or the Persona 3 movie, the second one.
Oh yeah.
What else? I think those are the two that I have like prepped or like or at least immediate. Because before I had done like in preparing for that, I did Soul Phrase and Wiping All Out, because I just knew he was gonna do Mass Destruction. That's honestly, if he was gonna play one Persona song, it had to be Mass Destruction. That was pretty much a given. But I've already covered Mass Destruction, so I did Soul Phrase and Wiping All Out, and that pretty much got me ready for that. And yeah, just like I said,
you should have been the one dude there to be like, all right, guys, we're taking requests. What do you guys want to hear? Unbreakable Tie. somebody play Unbreakable Tie, please.
That was actually Gnarly. He when we were in line, I asked him if there were any songs like he was interested in hearing, and he said Unbreakable Tie. And mine was obviously Fate is in Our Hands, but obviously, like you said, I guess I didn't know that Atlas has a a restriction, I guess, on like what they
It's
can or cannot play.
it's weird because like he has rights to the songs that like he's written and performed to as well. I think it's just that tricky thing of it has to first and foremost be a Lotus Juice concert that features songs from like X, Y, or Z because like especially think about it like we're still in a era where they've barely done concerts for anything Reload.
That's yeah.
So like they wanna save that for like the Persona Super Lives and things like that.
Nice.
Hey,
Yeah.
Atlas, anytime you want to make one of those in the West and sell a asinine amount of tickets, please, please, for the love of God, do it.
Also, if you need if you need a guitarist, hit me up.
Oh my God, I know. I believe it'll happen, especially like ironically, one of the things I've been trying to get set up for a while, but it's just scheduling wise has been crazy. The team who worked on the SMT concert from AX last year, they are also involved with the Sonic Symphony,
Oh,
and I've been trying to get them on the show because they're really interested in wanting to like talk about it. But they've been still doing touring for Sonic Symphony,
yeah.
and everything's been
they're
so crazy with their schedule. But their big thing right now is they really want to keep doing that for like other things outside of Sonic. So like I know they really want to take like SMT and like Persona and like put that as like a show on the road.
that would be incredible. Like I didn't get a chance to see the Sonic Symphony yet. They are coming back to Chicago in October, I believe. And so I'm gonna try and go to that. Hopefully, by then, I'll be better. I'll be doing a little bit better financially, and if that's the case, definitely, I'll definitely go see them. But yeah, they were incredible when they did the SMT concert, and I would love to see them do Sonic Symphony. And like you said, hopefully that'll lead to down the line them doing a Persona concert, which would be incredible.
I think the thing that would be tough, though, especially about making it more than just like a one-stop event, is with how important it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Of getting all of those people to still sing and do everything for it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't think they could get like Yumi Kawamura, right? I mean, didn't she like retire, or is she still performing?
I think she's retired now. Let me take a look and see.
So I think I saw somewhere like she came back for like one of the Persona like Super Lives, but that must have been like 2017.
I don't think she has done a Super Live since probably 2017 or you know what? I bet it was. I bet her last one was during 19 because I think she was. I think she still had some tracks that were in Persona Q2.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably would have been around the last time. Because like I'm trying to think of that one song. I guess it's less of a song, but that one. Yeah, because Road Less Taken was probably the last like song she's done. But I'm trying to think of like there's that one.
Wasn't that Lynn?
There's that one melody they did. Yeah, it was Lynn, Shihoko, and
they were all on.
And Yumi.
Oh, they were all on there. That's
right. It was all three of them because I remember they also did that Lifetime melody where they did the school or daily life tracks blended into each other where each one of them was revealed as they were singing, and it's like one of my favorite things ever because I love like how they all go into each other.
Mm-hmm.
But because the thing I was thinking about as well, which is wild, is it doesn't look like she's like retired, but definitely isn't like actively like A, making a lot of music, or B like doing any like touring and stuff at the moment.
Right.
The wild thing about that I was like thinking of, so when we saw them in person 2014, that was small, like I wouldn't say small, like medium size convention in Arizona, out of nowhere announces this. And remember, 2014 was a very different time for like Atlas and everything for it.
I would know.
Persona 5 wasn't out. It was a very they were going to this convention to perform in a room of like less than 300 people. So it was a very like intimate show.
Right.
But it was funny of like in retrospect thinking about it. I didn't even realize it at the time, just because it was one of those things of like, oh shit, I should try and go here. Because my whole thought process behind that concert was like, okay, it's three of my favorite vocalists from one of my favorite games of all time.
Mhm.
Also, I know someone who lives 5 minutes away from the convention center, so I should just fucking
There you
go.
go.
But then, like, thinking about it in retrospect, I'm like, oh yeah, there's like a chance that they never perform together ever again. Like, or at least in a way that I would get to see live. Now, in retrospect, I do feel bad that the only photo I have of me next to all of them, I look like a complete fucking dork. But you know what? At least there is a photo that shows I was there.
Hey, something's better than nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I still think there's such a huge demand for it. It's just such a tough thing of like who's bankrolling it, who's putting it over here. And I think obviously like getting someone like Lotus Juice, to no disrespect to him at all, like he's a much easier person to give a couple of $100 to, fly out, put up in a hotel for a weekend and do a con,
Yeah.
because he doesn't really need a translator. He probably has a smaller team. He's got the experience for it. Whereas like um, when Yumi and everyone else was there for that first year, no shit, Lotus Juice was basically their translator.
That I buy that. Like Lotus Juice was talking. So I don't know if you saw, but Nearly uploaded like an interview with Lotus Juice on his YouTube channel earlier, and
When?
or like earlier, like he got to
Oh.
it was like a press, like a private like press thing that he was able to do Sunday morning.
Oh, like literally 9 hours ago earlier. I was like, you have to remember, and before recording this, I've been in an office all day,
Okay, that's
so I
fair.
have not looked at
That's
YouTube.
fair.
I was like, when the fuck was this?
And so one of the questions that was asked, or I don't remember the question exactly, but during that interview at some point, Lotus Juice mentioned that he like when they wanted Lin to rap on, I think it was one of the songs for Tactica, Quiet Storm, I want to say. He was like, "Oh, that's not really doable because she doesn't speak English like Lotus Juice does." So he basically had to like walk her through that, and I guess that was the same with when he did songs for when he wrote the lyrics for songs in Royal and then Strikers. So yeah, he's basically like you said, he's the translator.
I'm only looking at the comments for this. I have this video pulled up. I appreciate the top liked comment. Did you ask him? And of course he did not. Did you ask him how three dots connect to rectangles? And I also appreciate that being the top liked question.
Someone asked that on one of the Q&A panels because.
So really? What did he say?
So he did. So like I said, he did a 30-minute Q&A in his first panel on Friday, and then he had an exclusive there was only Q&A panel on Sunday. And at one of those, I can't remember which one, but someone asked, "How does three dots connect to rectangles?" or something like that. And I think he said, "I don't know, man. I just said it."
I will say,
I don't think that was the actual answer. I probably wasn't, but he was just. But basically, what I got was like, it's just something I said.
I will say another funny thing in retrospect, man. I would love to ask him and pick his brain about. It's fucking
Brain
thinking about the one time he was asked to do a freestyle on a live stream for Deep Strange Journey. They were basically like, "Hey, here's a random song." By the way, Deep Strange Journey, not a very rappable OST.
I did not know
just
that.
not very rappable. So they were like, "Hey, could you do like a freestyle rap for us?" So he has to do a freestyle rap live on the air and has not prepped anything. And it's like, you can tell he's like, listen, he's trying his hardest. He's trying his hardest when it's like, bro, you're giving this man spaghetti and asking him to knit a sweater.
I mean, it's doable, but come on, give the man some time to prep.
It was one of those things where
Spaghetti's
I remember when it happened to being like, listen, kudos to you for doing it. that's the kind of thing that if you ask someone to do that, especially like an artist to do that live, they'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna respectfully walk away. I gotta get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
I mean, if they asked me to, like, for example, if you just asked me, like, hey, here's a chord progression solo over it, or like here's the song, whatever genre it is, just do a solo. I could probably do something, but because all I really need is like a key, and then I can just go. But freestyle rapping, that takes a little more work, or that's a little more effort.
It's like, oh man, you know what I love? I just can't help but resist rapping to the non-existing lyrics of "The Womb of Despair." Just fucking gets me going, man. It's that knee-tapping soundtrack from fucking that game.
All right, look, Juice. Here's Vehement Rage. Go.
It's like, hey, just thinking, like, hey, Donna Burke, can you do a vocal version of Rules of Nature to the tone of Sins of the Father? That'd be great.
Oh, that's a mashup that I didn't know I wanted it, but now I want it, and I.
Any other kind of like either ACEN memories or any like little weird things that had happened over the weekend you want to like share before we start wrapping up?
After he did the Persona songs, I didn't finish talking about the concert. So he did Backside of the TV. Then he did Deep Mentality Remix, and Mass Destruction. And then I think he did one more original. But what I want to highlight, which I was very confused about at the time, but someone asked him about it in the Q&A on Sunday. But he brought Raj and the band back out, and I was like, oh, cool, they're going to do a song together. I wonder what they're going to do. They performed "I'll Be Missing You" by P. Diddy and Faith Evans.
Hold on. Did anyone tell them not a good time for Diddy covers?
That's what I was. No, I don't know. I don't think anyone told them, but that's all I could think about was, oh.
Yo, this one goes out to my good man Jay Epstein, thinking of you, homie.
Oh no. But actually, but like I said, someone asked him about that in his Q&A on Sunday, and it was basically like, oh yeah, that's so he said like, it was a song that reminded him of his ex-girlfriend who had passed away. So it's a song that he performed, a number of times, obviously before everything that happened with P. Diddy. So, I get it. It's one of those things where you have a song that's like so personal to you. I guess you're able to separate art from the artist.
For sure.
But just in the moment, I was so fucking confused. But man.
They were like, how do we tell him? How do we let Blood know?
I was like, oh, does he know? I don't know I'm not sure if he did know, because in the first Q&A at his first panel, someone brought up the Kendrick Drake feud, and he didn't even like get that far. He called it the J. Cole Drake feud. It's like, oh, you're way behind, man. He's like, I wasn't really paying attention to that. I was like watching basketball and petting my dog. Which, yeah, that's probably for the best.
That is too funny. Wow, that is wild.
But yeah, then so that's basically the concert. It was great. Like I said, I got he did a quick signing. I got my C's armband signed, and then after that, so I met with two other. Well, one's a mutual, one I didn't know, but I've seen on Twitter. Do you know Super Gamer Guy 64?
I do.
Yeah, Nathan. I met up with him. It was actually his first time at a con at ACEN, and he was there actually to get a signing, or to meet Lotus Juice, because he was doing like an official signing later on after the concert, which there were only, oh boy, the story with that. So it was one of those things where you had to register, because it was only an hour long. And it wasn't like, when voice actors do signings like in dealers or whatever, they stay there for hours and sign stuff for tons of people. Lotus Juice only did like an hour signing, and there were only 75 slots open that you could register for.
Damn.
They opened registration for that opened up at 8 p.m. on Thursday night, and I missed it completely because I was working.
Oh no!
And I missed it completely because I was working. I didn't remember it until like hours later when I got home from work, and to my surprise, they were full up. But apparently, from what I heard from people I met who tried to get in, they set alarms for like 7:58, so they could be ready. And apparently, within seconds, they sold out. So they would be like at 8 p.m. on the dot, ready to register, and it would say full. So those I wouldn't be surprised if like those slots like literally got filled up within like 10 or 15 seconds.
Now, when you had gotten something signed, did you notice what other people were getting signed by him, or anything like stick out to you? Like, I'm always so curious of what people like bring to get signed.
Most people just brought their badges, like their con badges, to get signed.
sign my ID for college.
I wish I still have my ID from college. I could have just pulled it out and had him sign that, but no, most people just sign their con badges, and like I said, I got my C's armband signed. But like I said, he was also selling merch. Like he sold that like really fancy case or album case version of Carpe Diem for like $20, and like I said, it was cash only, so I couldn't buy it. But yeah, so he had merch. I think he also had some shirts, but it was all like his solo stuff. It wasn't Persona or Atlas related.
See, I've always like thought like the best way to get around that would just be like, okay, well I obviously can't get like Atlas to make like official Lotus Juice merch. So what you got to do then is instead just get like Doi or one of the other artists like Sojima or whatever, and have him be like, okay, you draw a Lotus Juice like concert piece that is vaguely Persona-like, but not enough to get sued.
I would just draw like draw like a house and then put an arrow to the floor and just write carpet on top of it.
Oh my god! Listen, man, I'm laying in the house like carpet. If there's a blunt, I'm gonna spark it.
No, you won't spark it.
Oh, I won't. Yes.
You'll put it in your pocket.
You'll put it in
your pocket and save it like rocket fuel.
Oh my god!
Great song.
Someone got paid for that. Multiple people got for that song.
What's your favorite Lotus Juice lyric? Serious or silly, doesn't matter.
It's been a while. I think I would honestly have to like look through his like discography before being more definitive. Like line wise, I don't think I could pick one. I think track wise, I might still have to give it to the dancing remix he did for Backside of TV. I really really like that song.
Yeah, it's so good. I hope you like my cover of it whenever I post it, probably Sunday.
Oh, that's like literally one of my favorite. That's literally like one of my favorite ones with it. Just like song wise in general, especially with like P4. I did want to ask you, because I forget if you've ever said this before, if there's any reason why, outside of obviously getting sued into oblivion. Have you ever been tempted to post any of your covers on like any like other platforms or anything besides Twitter?
I thought about YouTube, but the thing is, I always do.
Because I mean, it should at least be covered under like some form of like fair use.
I'm sure there is, but the thing is, I use like the official tracks, and I know there's like other covers that do the same thing, where they like just play guitar over the original track. But also the thing that I do is I never cover the full song. I always just do like a bit of it, whatever I can fit within the video the video time limit on Twitter, which is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Whatever I can fit into that, that's what I do. Sometimes I reach sometimes I reach it. Sometimes, it's only minute, 40 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever. But I never do the full song. That's the thing. It's always just like a quick little oddity. Even though they end up taking way longer than that because I mess up a lot.
Listen, man, music is hard.
Yeah,
Like even like I don't think like covers get not enough respect, but it is a very different. It is its own beast. It's its own kind of unique skill because it's like
yeah.
how much of myself am I bringing to this versus how much do I want to try and be as faithful to the original as possible and
That's
such and so forth.
that's always like my struggle. Like what I try to do. Okay, should I try to follow the song, like play what they're playing? Should I try to improvise something, or if I do, where's a good time to like improvise, or what should I be playing on top of here if I either can't exactly replicate what I'm hearing because it's not like a guitar. If it's like a guitar riff or like a clean part or whatever, I can just like listen to that and try to play that, try to mimic that. But if I do something like I remember when I did Path of God, I think that's what it's called, from Strange Journey, or is that what it's called, Path of God?
Yeah, it sounds right.
When I did that, I remember having the hardest time because that song is like there's no guitar, it's all orchestra pretty much. So I was like, all right, how do I turn this or translate this to guitar? Like obviously I would improvise, but like what do I do exactly? Because it's one of those things where like you have like, oh, you have all this room, do whatever you want, but it's like, okay, but I'd rather have like a bit of direction, like a song like even Backside of the TV has like, okay, I can play this. It's just like a ding 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 ding, and then just like build on top of that. But then you have something like Path of God from Strange Journey, and I'm just like, I I don't really know what to do. I ended up like writing my own melody for it actually because I didn't know what else to do, and it ended up sounding like a Reptilia from The Strokes. That's that's the song I like thought of when I was trying to like come up with parts for it. I was listening a lot to at that time where I was listening to Room on Fire. Great album, by the way. And Reptilia stuck out. I was like trying to like do something like that for Strange Journey, which weird.
I mean, one I'd be curious to see. I'm not sure how much you've listened to it, but I think has a lot of really good, especially like guitar cover opportunities for it. How much have you listened to Devil Survivor soundtrack?
Oh, I've not a whole lot, but I know, like, I definitely know of it. I've done one Devil Survivor song. I've done one. It was Deep Night, but it wasn't like an official cover. It was for I did it last year for as like a birthday present to a friend.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it wasn't an official cover. But yeah, I know of Devil Survivor soundtrack for sure, and I would love to try and cover some of that stuff.
Well, it's just so funny because like I think a lot of people are usually talking about it from like the story or the gameplay mechanic for it, but like I think that's like Devil Survivor 1 and especially 2 have got to have some of the most under discussed rock soundtracks like the series has. It is so good.
Yeah,
It goes very hard.
it is very hard rock from what I've heard, and that sounds like right up my alley. Um, Also, same with Devil Survivor 2, from what I've heard of that. There's one song on Devil Survivor 2 soundtrack. I forgot what it was called. But I actually did cover when I was still doing the phone audio era. And I just remember it being really fun to play, and I like to do that on properly.
All right, let me see here with it. Man, we should have never tempted the discussion fates of me being like, "Damn, Liam, I sure am glad to know this show's not going to go for 3 hours." We've unfortunately laughed at fate directly in her face, but we've survived, we've made it, we've talked, we've laughed, we've cried. I think we even talked about what feels like 9 years ago, the Fuhrer. It's been a journey.
The Führer. You mean Sunglasses Man?
Yeah, yeah, mysterious sunglasses man who definitely is not Adolf Hitler.
I'm very surprised we went this long, to be honest. I really thought we'd be done within like an hour and a half. I didn't know
Listen, man,
I didn't know my lore part would be as long.
Oh, dude, I know the Liam lore historians are gonna have a field day with this one tomorrow.
I really hope they find my fanfic and just like post it all over.
They're gonna wait till like you're gonna have a cover that's gonna like blow up because like some dude from 311's gonna share it and be like, "Damn, bro, you gotta check out this dude Liam. He's got a sick cover from Catherine Full Body. You need to check out, dude." I'm like, "Damn, the dude from 311 likes him. We better read his fan fiction."
The day that happens, it is going to be a beautiful disaster.
Fantastic reference. I've got to ask, who would be a musician randomly either shouting you out or like retweeting any of your music that you would not like lose your mind for, but be like have an uncontrollable like fanboy moment?
Fanboy moment? Maybe John Frusciante, the guitarist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's my favorite guitarist of all time. Nice. I guess also Shoji Meguro. That would be a big one.
No, it's too late now. Now the only way it'll get better is if Shoji Meguro retweets your Californication cover.
Oh, I guess I should do that then. I remember actually.
You know what? I feel like actually judging off of the music that Shoji Meguro actually likes, I bet you he does like Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's probably actually a band he would like.
Man. You know what? I don't care if it's true or not. That's my headcanon.
I mean, I have his DMs. Like, I don't know if he'd respond to it, but like, I feel like I could find out if I really tried.
That'd be a random question. Although I do remember last summer when I did Ginza from SMT1. Apparently the director of Strange Journey retweeted it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I wasn't keeping track of like who was retweeting it, but some people like I saw some like quote retweets or comments or whatever, being like, "Holy shit, you got noticed by the director of Strange Journey." I was like, "I did? Who?" It's like, "Oh, this guy," and I forgot his name. I feel really bad, but yeah, that apparently happened. So aside from Atlas retweeting a couple of my covers before, that was probably like the weirdest one. I'm definitely not unwelcome. It's great to see that. It was great to see that, but that was the one I was just surprised by the most. Like, really? Okay.
Man, if this episode was not already apparent enough, I love talking about conventions, random video games, and music way, way, way fucking too much. But yeah. Liam, thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute blast.
Thank you for having me,
man.
Thank you for having me. I can't believe we went this long. Can I just share one last quick story from ACEN?
No, please.
So, nothing special, but on Sunday I went back, even though I had work later on that day. That was a very dumb decision, especially since I was very sore from moshing around the Lotus Juice concert.
I was gonna say I heard you were the one man thrash pit for the Lotus Juice concert,
bro. Dude, I was like I was dancing, but I was also like I was jumping like big time.
Would you say almost you were dancing all night?
I was dancing in starlight, baby.
Oh my god, this man.
By the way, dancing in starlight.
By the way, I know why they changed it. I still prefer the Japanese names because of how fucking stupid they are by comparison. So, Dancing in Starlight and Dancing in Moonlight are not the Japanese name. The Japanese name for 4 was Dancing All Night.
Okay.
But for whatever fucking reason, Atlas thought, okay, so what will we call 3 and 5? Will we call them Dancing in Starlight or Dancing in Moonlight? No. Dancing Star Night, Dancing Moon Night. and I'm like, this is the team who just put like we're talking about the masterminds behind the Golden and the Royal. Like I'm shocked we didn't have it the Portable. So like the fact that like it's like guys,
The Star Knight.
we might need this to be at least 10% more English.
I hope Persona 6 has a dancing spinoff and they call it the Stardust.
No, it'll be paint bucket all day.
Painting all night. And it's just
Oh
just
my
Mario
god. No. It's Mario Paint, but specifically the music maker with like the kitty cat sound effect.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, that'd be great. But anyway, to quickly wrap up that story. So I went to the convention. Really, I only went Sunday because Lotus Juice was doing a Q&A. Even though Raj also had a Q&A panel, but for some reason it either got canceled. It must have gotten canceled because I got there and it wasn't there. But then, so at 3, there was a Lotus Juice did one more Q&A. I literally went up. I asked my 2 questions. Well, one was a question. It was just, do you have any? What's the best piece of advice you've gotten from someone in the music industry? And he responded with, "Oh, I haven't gotten any." He was thinking about it. He was like trying to think long and hard, but he couldn't come up with anything. And then the last thing I said was that my favorite Persona song of his was "Fate Is in Our Hands." And as soon as he answered, I said goodbye, grabbed my bag, left the con, got back on the train, went straight to work. And for 8 hours, my calves were burning, my body was tired. I was a wreck. But yeah, I just thought that was funny that I just decided to do that. Like go to a con and then go straight from the con to work for 8 hours.
And rumor has it you haven't recovered since.
No, my legs still hurt. And I'm still way behind on sleep.
Well, I hope you start feeling better eventually, man. I'm sure 3 hours of this, as you'll find out tomorrow, will not help you feel any better. But I hope I hope it all went well. I hope everyone listening enjoy this. Where can they find you online, by the way, if they want to follow your illustrious, world famous opinions and musical covers?
Well, the covers for sure. I'm trying to cut down on the opinions, but covers. I am at
boo,
Liam.
Opinions, boo.
I mean, I probably made some enemies with my Persona 4 opinions, but I'm on Twitter at Liam_Omega, and honestly, that's pretty much it. I don't do Instagram. I don't have TikTok. I don't have anything like that. Twitter's my one place where I do covers and post horrible opinions, and yeah, definitely check out some of the covers I've done. I have a huge backlog. I've kept track, or I've posted them all in a one big thread, so they're easy enough to find. I've done everything from Persona to Megaten to a couple like non-Megaten stuff. Like I did my first cover of the year was Hi-Fi Rush. Well, it was Hi-Fi Rush, but it was what's the Black Keys song that played Lonely Boy. And I have a couple others coming. Like I said, I just did Wiping All Out and Soul Phrase. I have Backside and Fate Is in Our Hands coming soon. And in terms of like covers I haven't posted, I have a couple from Tactica. I have some from Like a Dragon, some of the karaoke songs. And I even have, I think you might like this one, Max Payne theme.
All right.
Which I recorded at the start of the year or late last year, but for some reason I didn't get around to posting, which is too bad because I did it because James McCaffrey passed away. Rest in peace.
Man, that sucked, but like a part of me is also like, I am so excited. I know it's not coming anytime soon, but fuck, I can't wait for those 2 games to get remade.
Yeah, like I said, I'm definitely not as hostile towards that, but like I was with Silent Hill 2, or am with Silent Hill 2, because Remedy are doing it, and I am definitely interested to see like what they do, but it's just not going to be the same without James.
I wouldn't be shocked if they do like a Metal Gear Solid Delta where everything but the voice acting is redone. Like the voices are still the same, but like I think with Remedy, I think it'd be hard for them not to want to try and do a little bit more, especially with a giant remake of both. But
Right.
I mean, honestly, hard to say. But I mean, I also lived in a world where I thought Max Payne 3. Well, we are never going to get Max Payne 3, and now that we're getting more than just Max Payne 3, I am very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, actually, I love Max Payne 3.
Max Payne 3. I don't think it's controversial. Definitely the best Max Payne soundtrack of the whole series.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it has an actual soundtrack rather than just. I mean, the first game only had like a handful of tracks. Where the two had a really good soundtrack though. They had some good songs.
Two's got a solid soundtrack.
But three's got
man,
Health.
like I think of the fact that it's just an entire Health album, and then there's two scenes, the music from the airport fight, as well as the club shootout.
Oh, the
scene.
club is yes. I can't name the songs, but I know which one you're talking about. It's so good. But maybe who knows? Maybe they'll ask Marky Mark to voice Max in the remakes.
Oh God, please no.
Tell him, baby.
Just give me Troy Baker at this point. I'll take anyone but Mark Wahlberg.
But anyway, we rambled enough.
All right, everybody. Well, if you would like more of this, I've got great news for you. This is a weekly show, I'm sorry, everyone, this is a weekly show. If you want to follow this show, you can find us on YouTube by searching Shin Megami Tensei Network or Spencer Presley. Find the show on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can check out SMT Network. Links are in the description below wherever you're watching this to find everyone and everything we talked about. And let's see here. Oh, yes, also, super big shout-out to all of the wonderful, beautiful patrons at patreon.com/SMTnetwork, SMTN. You can tell it's midnight by the time we're doing this.
Yes, it is.
So, if you like the show, and if you want to keep it going for God knows what reason, you can go to patreon.com/SMTN. $1 and up will get you the show early, as well as having monthly exclusive giveaways. And then the $5 and up tier will get you the executive producer shout-out, just like Michael Wilson, Bell Chill, Cosmic Lumi, Budweiser Tall Cans, Carlos Hernandez, Cross Rin, Winnie, Jagingus, Goro Cero, Solaire, Mirth Mouser, Stephen Yip, and Patrick Dissart did. Thank you all so much. Liam, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lotus Juice, I know you're not listening to this.
Lotus Juice.
Thank you so much.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
I've got to go figure out where the hell these triangles and rectangles are going to be connecting, and I've got to get into now, after this episode's done, 6 hours of audio and video editing, so I cannot wait.
God bless you, sir. Also, one last thing. Like Shakespeare, Picasso like
There's
Monet.
always one last thing. Oh, what was that?
Like Shakespeare, Picasso like Monet. That's my favorite Lotus Juice lyric.
Wake God. Goodbye, everybody. We will see you next week.
Good night.